Part 10. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 95. Chapter 93, The first mission of the Special Operations Team. The drill for the new recruits also ended successfully. BZ and others did not ask Tanya to pick them up. Instead, they came to the square on their own after organizing the team and stood on the right side of the Seven Nations team. The people from the Seven Nations team nodded slightly to BZ and others, expressing their respect for their performance just now. Although BZ and others failed to clear the training building in the end, the soldiers from the Seven Kingdoms have already seen some gaps between themselves and their opponents. For example, the most important point is that BZ and the others can quickly react whether the enemy is a zombie or a human with a gun. Can see through each other's disguise. Samus waited for BZ and others to arrive before continuing. Of course, this training building is only part of the preliminary training of our Red Claws. After all, our Red Claws are different from other armies. The primary goal is to fight against biohazards. So there are other specialized trainings after this training is completed. The Korean military officer in the audience raised his hand and said, "I would like to ask, are there any zombies inside the base to train us?" No. Samus understood what the other party meant. Facing zombies, monsters that looked like they came out of hell, it was better to overcome the fear of them by seeing them once, so he explained, "Actually, in the Lighthouse country's military, with great support, we established a training town in an isolated valley, called Turnbull." Luo Guang noticed Tanya's bitter expression when Samus said this, and realized that the town was not a newly established training town, but the real Tinaport town he had been to. Probably after the military evacuated the survivors there, it planned to make it a combat training ground for the Red Claws. It could also become a test platform for combat testing of the military's own biological and chemical weapons after they were developed and used to collect actual combat data on biological and chemical weapons. Samus knew that Tanya grew up in that town, so he would return to that town to work and live after retiring. Therefore, he talked about this matter with Tanya last night, and also brought the Red Claws and the military together. Told Tanya about the deal, saying it was one of the conditions for the formation of the Red Claws. Although organization. The military officer of the Republic of China was shocked by the generosity of the Lighthouse State and quickly asked, "Is this all in that small town?" "Yes, there are biochemical monsters caused by Umbrella's virus inside according to the military's instructions." Samus blamed Umbrella for all the biochemical problems in the town and said, "However, let me say something in advance here. Although it is a training town, our Red Claws will not provide you with safety insurance. Therefore, training there will be extremely life-threatening. If you want to back down, report it as soon as possible. Don't, it's a waste of time here." After Tanya knew this, there was nothing she could do. Although she had doubts about the idea that Umbrella had leaked the blood plague virus, there was still nothing she could do even if she knew the truth. Tanya clenched her fists, feeling very unwilling. "I understand what you mean, that's where the actual combat begins," the U officer understood. "Yes, and we have told your superiors about this part of the matter and obtained permission, but it seems that they did not tell you about this particularly important security issue," Sam said. After all, they were elite troops sent by other countries. It was impossible for the Lighthouse country to send their troops into actual combat without saying anything. It seemed that soldiers from several countries had not received this information, and their faces were a bit ugly. But in the end, no one asked to quit. After all, I and others were already here. If I quit, I couldn't afford to lose face. At the same time, if I just went back and waited for others, I wouldn't get any good results. Our commander has mentioned that training is quite dangerous, but he did not mention specific training methods. I have no other questions." The military officer of the country said this, but his face was very solemn. Although his superiors had mentioned that there would be actual combat exercises, he really never thought that it would be in such a form. He originally thought that the zombies were trapped in cages. Training like shooting directly by yourself and others. In the eyes of the Korean military officers, it was already considered actual combat, not an exercise. After finishing these things, Sams had one last thing to say. One more thing is that our special operations team of the Red Claws is now recruiting personnel. There is no need to break away from the original military membership, but they must be members of the Red Claws. The mission of this unit is to conduct preliminary reconnaissance to confirm whether a biochemical crisis has occurred, and if necessary, directly contain or resolve small-scale biochemical crisis incidents or provide time for the local military to complete the blockade. To a certain extent, it can be regarded as a special force within the Red Claws, Luo Guang thought, and then heard Samus continue to talk about some of the special operations team's privileges. After all, it is a team jointly funded by NATO countries. It is also considered an official army. Therefore, its authority within the NATO member countries is basically the same as that of the local army. It has the right to reject certain decisions of the local army, which means that it does not need to hand over command. Gun. This power is not small. The reason why the NATO member countries agreed to this request is because the Special Operations Team only has 4 people. The tasks are usually small-scale biological and chemical crises, and the impact is not big. Moreover, after the military completes the blockade, the Special Operations Team will also leave and will not point fingers. Anyway, after their own troops return from their studies, they will not need the help of the Red Claws. This is the real thought of the upper echelons of most NATO member countries. This chapter is not over yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading. The officers of various countries listened to Samus's introduction and weighed the benefits of joining this special operations team. The simplest thing is to collect intelligence information on various biochemical crises or get samples of those viruses. Samus did not wait for those people to absorb the intelligence, he said, and continued, "The captain of the special operations team is a member of our Red Claws. His name is Luo Guang." After that, Samus asked Luo Guang to come to the stage. Luo Guang walked up to the stage without fear and stood beside Samus. When the personnel of various countries saw that such a young Luo Guang was the captain of the special operations team, although they did not whisper, they kept looking at Luo Guang, and their eyes revealed their suspicion of Luo Guang. However, Samus did not explain anything. In her opinion, Luo Guang was fully capable of taming the unruly elites below. Does anyone have any questions? After saying everything that needed to be said, Samus did not intend to continue to talk about superficial things at length, so he prepared to disband and let the staff below arrange accommodation for those people and other matters. The officer of Gaul, Wang Wei, raised his hand and said, "I hope to join the special operations team." Samus did not answer and looked at Luo Guang. Okay, Wang Wei had not told Luo Guang about this before, but Luo Guang agreed directly, thinking that this should be considered nepotism. The adjutant behind Wang Wei looked at Wang Wei with resentment, and then directed his resentful eyes at Luo Guang. Luo Guang understood that Wang Wei was going to push other things to his adjutant again, and could not help but apologize to the unknown adjutant in his heart. Not only Samus, but others also saw that Luo Guang and Wang Wei came to the square together, but they did not know Luo Guang's identity at the time. At this time, people from various countries saw that the two of them were talking and answering, and Wang Wei, the female officer, joined Luo Guang's special operations team. They couldn't help but doubt the relationship between the two, which also made them more uncertain about Luo Guang's team. They suspected that Luo Guang had private affairs and deliberately pulled the female officer to his team. So when Samus asked again if anyone wanted to join, no one in the square spoke, and those who originally intended to join also backed out. In fact, Tanya also had the idea of joining Luo Guang's team to solve the biochemical crisis, but she also had to help her friend Samus deal with the Red Claws. The main reason was that the large number of professional instructors that had been agreed upon before were not in place, So basically all the teaching matters fell on Tanya. Luo Guang didn't care whether anyone joined his special operations team, so he didn't say anything. He just stood there, smiling slightly, making people unsure of his thoughts. Seeing this, Samus finished his summary and let everyone disperse. "Captain, do you really want to join that person's team?" The adjutant knew that Wang Wei'ai knew the other party, so he said. Wang Wei'ai's adjutant is a mid-level intelligence officer of Umbrella, and the soldiers behind them are elite soldiers selected from the USS troops under the European branch. After all, the other party's special forces can let us know the latest biochemical crisis and collect various viruses and other things, Wang Wei'ai whispered back, and then whispered in the other party's ear, "As for the future action guidelines, forget our previous identities and just be Red Claw soldiers." The adjutant is also a smart person, so Wang Wei'ai doesn't need to remind the other party to leave a way out for himself. The adjutant understood the meaning of Wang Wei'ai's second half of the sentence, nodded, and asked, "Then should I or others try to apply to join that special operations team?" The adjutant meant to undermine the captain of the special operations team and replace him when necessary. Wang Wei'ai shook his head and said, "Don't think that the other party is young and easy to bully. Just like I am younger than you, but you can't beat me. If all of us add up, we may not win if we fight head-on." The adjutant knew that Wang Wei'ai and Luo Guang knew each other. Although he didn't know the relationship between the two, he still had to listen to Wang Wei'ai's words about Luo Guang's combat effectiveness, so he put away his thoughts. Wang Wei'ai explained some things and then walked towards Luo Guang. On the other side, Luo Guang found Samus and Tanya and confirmed his mission in the Red Claws with them. "Report, Captain, Wang Wei'ai is here to report." Luo Guang had just finished talking to Tanya and the others, and Wang Wei'ai, who was waiting on the side, spoke. "Have you finished explaining?" Luo Guang confirmed. "Well, I've finished the instructions." "That's great. I just got the mission from the Commander-in-Chief. Let's go to my office first." After saying goodbye to Tanya and the others, Luo Guang took Wang Wei'ai to the Special Operations Team office that Tanya, the logistics manager, had just told him about. The office was okay, about 20 square meters, with 4 desks facing each other, and a projector and some office equipment. "Luo Guang, what is the mission you are talking about? Is it to go to the building in the video that was played at the beginning?" Because there were only Luo Guang and Wang Wei'ai in the office, Wang Wei'ai didn't call Luo Guang the captain. Luo Guang, who went back to the officer's dormitory, took out the scanner and checked it before saying, "No, the Red Claw recruits will be in charge there. Haven't those recruits been training for a while? They are retired soldiers from various units, so these few days of training are enough. They still need to go into actual combat." Luo Guang repeated what he heard from Samus and said, "There is a part of the video that tells the story of the reporter and the photographer's escape. The zombies in it are very fast and can fly over the eaves and walls, but other than that, there is nothing special. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content." "Is being able to fly over the eaves and walls nothing special?" Wang Wei'ai asked, not sure if Luo Guang meant flying over the eaves and walls literally. Luo Guang said, "I've also heard that when those guys get up to speed, they will use wall jumps and other methods to attack. That's indeed flying over eaves and walls, but no matter how fast they are, they can't be faster than bullets." Luo Guang agreed with this, which is why Samus chose that as the first mission for the novices, which is somewhat difficult, but there are no biochemical monsters that are difficult to deal with by bullets. "But, those newcomers have not been to that town for actual combat training, is that okay?" "That town is even more dangerous," Luo Guang replied. Luo Guang's words made Wang Wei'ai understand that Luo Guang might be familiar with the situation in that town, but Luo Guang didn't say it, so she didn't plan to ask again. After all, her adjutant and others would go to the town of Tenabo to obtain intelligence later. Thinking of this, Wang Wei'ai asked, "Well, I understand, Then what is our mission? Because there was no document, Luo Guang could only convey it verbally first. Do you know the country of Papua New Guinea? Wang Wei shook her head. This name was not common, and she thought it should be a small country. That country is near Australia, just across the Torres Strait, and belongs to the Melanesian Islands, with more than 600 islands in total. But that country is on the other side of Australia, and it is not a member of NATO, so why did we Red Claw send people there? Although he was not familiar with that country, Wang Wei remembered which NATO member countries there were. The Lighthouse country and the Ying country have signed agreements related to national defense with that country, but I think sending us there is probably a test for the Red Claws. It means going to other places to try it out before implementing it on your own territory. Wang Wei understood. Luo Guang nodded and said, anyway, the departure time is probably in the next few days, so we have to run in, and we also have to do a good job of reporting equipment and other work. I understand, I can help you with those, but do you have any information about the mission? Wang Wei also had the experience of helping Luo Guang get equipment and write reports when he was in the training center, and he couldn't help but miss the old days. Not yet. We only know that a biochemical crisis has broken out there and a tourist island has fallen. Our mission is to go to that tourist island to investigate the situation and find out the cause of the biochemical crisis. I understand. Meow, I have to go out to collect some materials today. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tong Miao. Chapter 96. Chapter 94 Tropical Paradise. A few days passed quickly. During this period, Luo Guang did not find any outstanding talents after observing the training of various countries, so in the end, only Luo Guang and Wang Wei set out to perform the mission. Unlike the previous Raccoon City incident, Turner Valley Operation and Veronica incident, this time Luo Guang can be fully armed and go directly to the place where the biochemical crisis occurred after being well prepared. Let's talk about Wang Wei first. At this time, he changed into a set of specially made gray and black tactical tights, outlining the S-curve of Wang Wei's body. At this point, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. This tights was researched by the Apocalypse organization. It has constant temperature and hemostasis functions, and is warm in winter and cool in summer. The hemostatic function above comes from the green hemostatic medicine filled with honeycomb-shaped grids inside the clothes. When the bullet passes through the clothes, these grids will also be penetrated, directly covering the hemostatic medicine to the wound. However, this tights is only used as an inner lining, and Wang Wei still puts on a complete set of Red Claws combat suits on the outside. As for weapons, Wang Wei is best at pistols. He uses two Beretta M92FS pistols, which are improved versions of Luo Guang's M92F. However, Luo Guang's Beretta M92F pistol is specially customized and modified, so the original M92F pistol sleeve fracture problem has been solved, and there is no performance difference between the two. In addition to the pistol, Wang Wei also selected a G36C rifle as his main weapon and a short dagger as a close combat weapon. Except for the barrel, all important parts of the G36 series, such as the receiver, handguard, buttstock, sling ring, and small grip, are made of black engineering plastic, so the weight of the G36C in Wang Wei's hand has been reduced to 2.8 kilograms, which is just suitable for women. After choosing the weapons, Wang Wei did not carry many spare magazines, 8 for the pistol and 4 for the assault rifle. As for the rest of the weight, Wang Wei used it to carry some auxiliary equipment. As for Luo Guang, there was no change in the choice of main and secondary weapons. The pistol was still the Beretta M92F special pistol, and the main weapon was the M4S90 shotgun. In addition, the melee weapons Luo Guang carried were a telescopic dagger and a mountaineering pick, which were both handy weapons when he went to the Tenable Valley. The backpack he carried was still the one in Raccoon City. Luo Guang took as much ammunition and throwing objects as possible in the rest of the space on his body. Of course, this was all based on not affecting Luo Guang's actions. The uniform was that of the Red Claws, but he was wearing the black jacket that Raccoon City had on the outside, which could hold a spare gun, so he looked a bit out of place. Luo Guang felt that with the spare ammunition he had now, he was even more exaggerated than the protagonist in a computer game with a mission in its name. After the preparations were completed, Luo Guang and Wang Wei took a plane and a boat, and finally arrived at the tropical island of Banoi where the biochemical crisis occurred. After Luo Guang and Wang Wei landed on the island, they immediately left on the boat that Luo Guang and Wang Wei had taken to the island. After Luo Guang contacted his superiors in the future, the captain who received the order would come to pick them up again. Sunshine, sea, beach, bikini, all the elements of a tropical resort are available. Luo Guang, although you are wearing a bikini, that is a zombie. Can you stop grinning at that thing? Wang Wei confirmed that the surroundings were temporarily safe, turned his head to look at Luo Guang, and followed Luo Guang's line of sight to see a female zombie in a black bikini. Well, it's not because of that reason. Most of the zombies on the beach were wearing swimsuits, and there were also zombies who supported nudity, so Luo Guang didn't see the bikini zombie for that reason. After Luo Guang saw the zombie, he instantly determined that those zombies were not T-virus zombies. There were no particularly obvious signs of decay on the skin of those zombies, which was one of the characteristics of T-virus zombies. However, it could also be a variant or modified version of the T-virus, or other unknown viruses, but in any case, it was a good tonic for him, so Luo Guang left. What's the reason? Wang Wei looked suspicious. Luo Guang naturally couldn't tell Wang Wei the real reason, and quickly changed the subject and said, "Okay, those zombies have noticed us and are carrying out their mission." Tisk Wang Wei felt that Luo Guang was just being stubborn, but those zombies did come to him, so he raised the G36C assault rifle in his hand and was about to kill those zombies. No need. You are responsible for keeping watch around and making sure there are no enemies with guns. Leave the zombies to me. Luo Guang pressed down the weapon in Wang Wei's hand, took out the mountaineering pick and went directly to the zombies. Unlike the Blood Plague zombie group in Tenable Valley, Luo Guang no longer needed to constantly pull the zombie group and gradually eliminate the zombies. At this time, Luo Guang was like Zhao Zilong reborn. He went in and out of the zombie group 7 times, and soon he killed the zombies who found them. When Luo Guang returned to Wang Wei wiped the blood off Luo Guang's face and said, "Is it necessary? We don't know why these people became zombies, and the infection route is not clear. It's okay. The blood on my face was just an accident." The blood on Luo Guang's face was not splashed by his own attack, but by the wounds on the zombies. When the zombies ran, some flesh and blood flew out of the wounds and stained Luo Guang's face. Luo Guang continued, "However, if you face those zombies, it is better to use a gun to deal with them. Your melee weapon is a bit short." The zombies on the island have several characteristics, which Luo Guang just tested in melee combat. The first is that the normal way of movement after discovering Luo Guang is running, and walking is extremely rare. The second is that the hands of those zombies are not always stretched forward to try to grab Luo Guang, but directly waving their arms to hit Luo Guang. The third point is that the strength and movement speed are a little stronger than ordinary Blood Plague zombies and T-virus zombies. Wang Wei nodded obediently. She also saw the situation of those zombies. Several times, those zombies were about to hit Luo Guang with their fists, but Luo Guang just avoided them, which made her sweat for Luo Guang. Luo Guang did not use all his strength and speed. After all, his predecessor and Wang Wei had been separated for so long, so Luo Guang just controlled his physical ability within the range that humans could understand. What should we do now? Where should we go to get information? Wang Wei thought that she should first find the outbreak point on the island, but now she was a soldier under Luo Guang, so she naturally had to ask Luo Guang first. Go find the survivors and then get information, Luo Guang replied. Wang Wei said that she had received it, and was about to take out the map to confirm the location of the hospital on the island, when she saw Luo Guang walking directly into the island. Where are you going? Wang Wei hurriedly followed and asked. Leave the beach first, we are too conspicuous standing there, Luo Guang replied, and walked into the resort on Benoi Island. Luo Guang said so, but in fact he heard the sound of a car engine coming from the island, so he asked Wang Wei to go inside. Of course, the clothes on the two of them did not look like tourists on the island, but Luo Guang had already prepared a set of explanations to convince the other party to cooperate with him. As Luo Guang expected, the driver met Luo Guang. Who are you? The driver was a local resident, wearing a white vest and an orange shirt, with a white cross on the right chest of the clothes, dark brown skin, and some tattoos on the right eye and arms. The passenger was a bald uncle wearing a floral shirt. We are the Red Claws, and we are here to investigate what happened on the island. Luo Guang did not mention the term biochemical crisis. Red Claws? I haven't heard of it. Get in the car first. The driver looked anxious. Luo Guang and Wang Wei were not polite, and they directly climbed onto the roofless cargo box behind the pickup truck. Luo Guang almost stepped on the person lying behind the cargo box. Wow, there is someone else. Who is she? Luo Guang said, but the person in front did not answer, and directly released the foot brake and continued to drive towards the beach. Since the other party did not answer, Luo Guang would not ask again, and turned to look at the person lying in the cargo box. The person inside looked like an Asian, wearing a long white shirt, a red tie around his neck, a split red knee-length skirt, a white belt as a decoration, and black stockings and black high heels on his legs. When Luo Guang asked the previous question, Wang Wei immediately went to check the person's physical condition. Luo Guang sat by the cargo box and asked, "What's her condition?" "There are bite marks on her arm. Although she is unconscious, she doesn't have a fever," Wang Wei said to Luo Guang, aiming the G36C assault rifle in his hand at the position of the Asian, looking at Luo Guang, asking for Luo Guang's opinion. "No need, you see the bandage on the head is new, I think it should be the person saved by the driver in the front row." Luo Guang meant that this was the person that the man had saved, so even if he knew that the person was threatening to become a zombie, he couldn't act rashly to avoid exacerbating the conflict. Of course, even if the other party became a zombie, Luo Guang was confident that he could solve it. Wang Wei nodded to show that he understood, but still did not relax his vigilance. The place where Luo Guang and Wang Wei got on the car was not far from the beach, so they returned to the beach soon. The pickup turned a corner and drove along the beach to a wooden house and stopped behind the wooden house. Everyone got off the car. The driver introduced himself and went to the cargo box to carry the Asian girl on his back, saying, "My name is Sinamayi John, and the man in the flowered shirt over there is John Mocha." Luo Guang and Wang Wei also introduced themselves and covered Uncle Sinamayi and the other two into the wooden house. There were many people in the wooden house. In addition to Uncle Sinamayi and John in the flowered shirt whom Luo Guang had seen, there were 3 or 4 girls in bikinis chatting with a guy wearing glasses and swimming trunks named Donnie Jack. They were college friends who came here for vacation together. A black man with a big gold chain with a golden letter B on it and a red headscarf claimed to be a hip-hop singer from the lighthouse country of New Orleans. He was invited to perform on the island. His name was Sam B. A man named Logan, who was carrying a crossbody bag, wearing a brand name watch and had a mohawk short haircut, was wiping a baseball bat carefully. Finally, there was a woman named Pina wearing a purple dress. The front and back of her dress were connected by a metal ring between her collarbones, and at this time, part of the skirt under the dress was torn off, which seemed to be done deliberately to prevent the dress from hindering her running. Sinamayi put the Asian girl on a bed, then took a baseball bat from the side, handed it to the boy with eyes, and said, "If she mutates, you hit her head." "What?" Donnie was a little surprised, shrank his body, and then took the baseball bat under the gaze of the girls on the side. Cinema Yi explained the matter, then turned to look at Luo Guang and the others, and asked, "How did you get here? Can you take us away?" Luo Guang sighed and asked a question first. Do you know where these zombies came from and how they came? Do you know where the source is? Everyone looked at each other, and no one answered Luo Guang's question. Sighing, Luo Guang said with regret, "It's a pity that we can't take you away." Others were a little angry when they heard this, so Luo Guang quickly added, "Because our mission is to investigate the situation here. If we don't investigate it clearly, the superiors will not send people to pick us up, so if you want to escape from here, you can choose to help us find the source, or find another way. Then we can lie to them and say we have found it, or make up a story," Sam B quickly suggested. Wang Wei looked at him like a fool, and Luo Guang explained, "If the superiors find out that it is fake, have you thought about the consequences? But I am a citizen of the lighthouse country. The other party can find a place where no one is, and kill you," Logan said in a mocking tone. Sam B cursed angrily. Cinema Yi was very calm and confirmed, "If you can't find it, then you will be trapped here, right? 30 days, they gave us a month." Luo Guang hesitated for a moment before saying, "If the source cannot be confirmed, then all the survivors here may be abandoned, and the entire Banoi Island will be cleaned up." "What do you mean by clean up?" Pina asked. "Give the entire island a high-temperature disinfection." Luo Guang's words made people feel that the temperature here dropped several degrees in an instant. Everyone immediately understood what Luo Guang meant and the seriousness of the matter. "Then can we get on the ship?" "In 30 days," Sam B asked, holding the gold necklace on his chest. "It should be possible," Luo Guang answered and continued, "but the ship is not big. It will be almost full if it can accommodate all the people here plus 2 or 3 more people. Also, after we rescue you, you may be quarantined and inspected. You should be mentally prepared. In other words, we'd better find a way to leave by ourselves." "Do you think the military won't block this place?" Luo Guang shook his head and said, "Only after we find the source and confirm the cause of this disaster can we find a way to develop an antidote to solve this crisis." Cinema Yi nodded, thought of something, and said quickly, "By the way, someone notified us to rescue the Asian girl on the radio. The person on the radio said that the unconscious girl was his friend and might be immune. Asterisk. A little late, meow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 97. Chapter 95, Death Island. Immune? Virus, Luo Guang thought for a moment and said, "Do you know who the man on the radio is?" "I don't know. He just asked us to call him Colonel, but I don't think his tone of voice is like that of a soldier. He is not as arrogant and domineering as the ones I met before," Cinema Yi replied. "Colonel, when the commander of the Papua New Guinea army received Luo Guang and the others, he did not mention that there were any troops other than his own coming here, so Luo Guang asked, 'As far as I know, no other troops have been sent to perform the mission except us.'" Cinema Yi thought about the surrounding situation of Banoi Island and said, "There is a prison managed by the army nearby, which is full of serious criminals from various countries. Could it be someone from there?" "Yes. But if he knows that the virus caused this biochemical crisis, then maybe he knows the origin of this incident." Wang Wei felt that he could seek a breakthrough from the colonel. "That's also a direction, but let's go to the city hospital as planned." "Indeed, if it's not necessary, it's better not to go to the prison." "It's not easy to get in there," Uncle Cinema Yi said. "The prison is not on this Banoi Island, but on another small island across the bay. In order to prevent the criminals there from escaping, the sea area around the prison island is full of mines. If you don't have an acquaintance to lead the way or a map, you can't get to the prison. Well, that's no way, but do you believe in the immune people? Luo Guang confirmed. In fact, we met 3 immune people before. Uncle Cinemayi pointed to the 3 people on the other side of the house. The 3 people were a little far away from Doni and the others, and gathered on the other side of the house. Logan, Pina, and Sambi are all immune. They were bitten by zombies before they came here or before I rescued them. Wang Wei, I was a little surprised that there were so many immune people here, and said, so many immune people? There seems to be no immune person among the more than 100,000 people in Raccoon City. Logan and the other 2 came to Luo Guang and said, we don't know what's going on. But can we, the immune people, help develop an antidote? In that case, can we leave first? After Logan finished speaking, he and the other 2 showed the wounds bitten by zombies. Luo Guang nodded and said, although we have the right to command independently, we are not the main person in charge. We can only report to the higher UPS first to see if it works. Then contact them as soon as possible, Brother Sambi said quickly. Hey, can we get on the ship? Anyway, the ship is here, Brother Donnie, as the representative pushed out by other female college students, asked quickly with a baseball bat in his hand. Luo Guang glanced at Donnie and didn't answer. He first confirmed the time of the wound with Logan and the others, then explained to Wang Wei and walked out. Hello, Dr. Serper. Luo Guang found a safe place and took out his mobile phone to contact. The person he contacted was not the captain who brought him here, but a doctor. Dr. Serper is said to be a researcher at a pharmaceutical company called Will Pharma. He has connections with some bigwigs in the Lighthouse country, so he was sent here to be responsible for possible biochemical crisis events. It is obvious that he was sent here to collect viruses or other things that cause biochemical crises. At this time, Dr. Serper was in a luxuriously decorated room on a large modified cruise ship, tasting red wine and waiting for Luo Guang's information. You investigated it so quickly. The other party's tone was full of arrogance. Luo Guang didn't care for the time being and said, no, we encountered zombies. It seems that there should be a biochemical crisis, and then we found 4 immune people. Immune people? 4, Dr. Serper was as surprised as Luo Guang and the others, and then asked doubtfully, are there any wounds bitten by zombies? Yes, and the healing speed is normal. Luo Guang asked Logan and the others when they were injured to confirm this. Dr. Serper on the ship pondered for a while and said, you want us to take them back with you? That's what they think, and some civilians also want to take a ride. And we still have to investigate the source and confirm the truth of the matter, so we have to leave later. Dr. Serper tapped his index finger on the table, thinking of a piece of intelligence he had received before, and said, I need you to obtain the combat data of those immune people and confirm whether the physical abilities of these immune people have changed, so I need you to let them stay on the island to survive. I need a reason to persuade them. Don't worry, I have already thought about it for you. There is a typhoon coming towards you, and the ships cannot come for the time being. As for how to let those people go out to fight, you think about it yourself. That's it, bye. Beep. Luo Guang hung up the phone and made another note of Serper, the annoying guy, in his heart. Luo Guang returned to the beach rescue house, and the people in the house instantly looked at Luo Guang with expectant eyes. There are good news and bad news. Luo Guang's tone seemed to indicate that the situation of contacting his superiors just now was not good. Could it be that we civilians are not allowed to board the ship? Donnie was very pessimistic, and his female friends started cursing when they heard this. No, they didn't say whether it was possible or not. They just said it depends on the situation. Luo Guang said, they said that a typhoon is coming and ships cannot approach the sea area for the time being, so let's find a place to avoid the typhoon now, and then make plans again. You're not lying, are you? Pina used to be a policeman and now a bodyguard, so she was on high alert. Luo Guang shrugged and said, I'm not going with you. Is there any need to lie? Besides, we can't hide the truth about the typhoon from anyone. Cinema couldn't contact the man who claimed to be a colonel, so he participated in the conversation and said, Luo Guang didn't lie. I am the leader of the rescue team here. I did receive information about the formation of a typhoon a few days ago. So the other party, since we have said that we cannot send ships for the time being, we must prepare for the typhoon. Is there any recommended place? It's too dangerous to stay here to face the typhoon, Wang Wei asked. Yes, and it's very close. We just passed there. Cinema nodded and said, that's a life-saving station. Since we are going to stay on this island for a while, then it will be a good place there. There are many accessible ambulances, more equipment, and stronger antenna signals. It's not far from our place, just walk along the beach to the road opposite the second beach bar, and then walk a short way up to it. It's very conspicuous. After saying that, Sina Moy touched his pocket, his face suddenly changed, and he said, well, I forgot to take the key card there. I must have left it at home. That place is a bit far away. You need to take a long detour to my house to get the key card. Uncle Cinema took out a map from the drawer, marked the location of his home on the map, and then handed it to Luo Guang naturally. Luo Guang took it, took a look, and said, okay, let's help you find the key. What is the radio channel here? We will use the radio there to contact you after we clean it up. Uncle Zinamayi told Luo Guang the channel he was currently using, and Luo Guang asked them to wait here and not wander around, and then left the beach rescue house with Wang Wei. The typhoon thing is actually true. I thought you were lying to them at first, Wang Wei and Luo Guang said as they left the beach rescue house and walked along a stone staircase behind the rescue house. While confirming the surrounding situation, Luo Guang said, it's not necessary. We are the Red Claws now. We must pay attention to the unity of the military and civilians. Wang Wei didn't believe Luo Guang's nonsense and said, do you believe in the Red Claws that much? My organization has checked and found that the purpose of establishing the Red Claws is not simple. There is a certain force behind it. Luo Guang remembered that Wang Wei said that there was an X-organization behind the Apocalypse organization. At first, Luo Guang thought it was the same as his own X-organization, but after this period of communication, it seemed that this was just a coincidence. I don't care about the forces behind the Red Claws. I only care about whether the Red Claws can do practical things and fight against biohazards. Aren't you worried that they are anti-biochemical and studying biochemical viruses at the same time? At that time, I will naturally take action. Luo Guang's tone was very serious and he spoke unambiguously. Cinema's home is inside the resort. After walking up the stairs, you will see a sign. Go a little further to the right and you will arrive at the resort consisting of vacation homes and various swimming pools. The tourists at the resort were very enthusiastic. When they saw Luo Guang and Wang Wei, the food in their hands no longer tasted good. They immediately pounced on Luo Guang and the two, but they were all eliminated one by the flower protector Luo Guang with a mountaineering pickaxe. After a while, the two of them arrived near Uncle Cinema's home. A burst of crying came, and Luo Guang followed the crying and saw a man kneeling in the swimming pool in front of Cinema's house. Judging from the style of his swimsuit, he should be a man. The water in the swimming pool was not, but blood, soaked into the man's lower abdomen. A short knife 20 to 30 centimeters long was inserted into a corpse in front of the man. Seeing this situation, Luo Guang suddenly thought of the Road to Survival game before time travel, in which there was a special kind of infected person who looked like this. Luo Guang took out his Beretta M92F pistol, walked along the edge of the swimming pool, walked directly in front of the man, and raised his pistol. The man's face was covered in blood, and his body had been stained red for a long time. He noticed Luo Guang's footsteps and looked up at Luo Guang. Luo Guang saw the tears on the man's face, and his eyes were not white, so he slowly put down his pistol and said straight to the point, there are still survivors in the rescue room on the beach below, you can go and join them. The man glanced at the pistol that Luo Guang had put down, then looked at the corpses in front of him and around him, and said to Luo Guang in a hoarse voice, "Kill me too, the people around me are my relatives. They became monsters and I had to free them myself. Those zombies are still there, and you haven't found out the source of the zombies. Are you going to seek death?" Luo Guang advised. The man shook his head, pulled out the knife, threw it aside, then hugged his wife's body and said, "I'm tired." Seeing that the other party was determined to die, Luo Guang raised his pistol and aimed it at the center of the other party's eyebrows. "Thank you." As the other party thanked him, Luo Guang shot him to death. Wang Wei looked at Luo Guang, who put the gun away. She could see that Luo Guang was not in a good mood. She was the same when she saw this scene. She walked to Luo Guang and said, "Let's go. We will go hunt those zombies later." Luo Guang nodded, walked into Cinema Yi's room, and found the pass. This chapter is not over yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. After walking out of the room, Luo Guang gave the map to Wang Wei and said, "You follow me, I will go first." After saying that, Luo Guang ran away without even taking the mountaineering pick, and Wang Wei did not run to catch up immediately. She knew that Luo Guang wanted to vent alone. Running away quickly, Luo Guang ran to the rescue station. Just walk north all the way, then turn right according to the instructions on the road sign and walk towards the beach to see it. Luo Guang has experienced several biochemical crises. Apart from the one on Lotford Island, there are only two in Raccoon City and Turner Valley. When in Raccoon City, Luo Guang still had all kinds of troubles after just crossing over, and there were not many living people in Raccoon City at that time. Luo Guang only saw the destroyed city, but did not see with his own eyes how heavy the tragedy behind the city was. For Luo Guang, the Tenabo Valley was more like a picnic. He was just a passerby who came and went in a hurry, so he did not have much touch. Both places had experienced the most tragic early outbreaks, and now it has only been a week since the outbreak of Benoi Island. There are still a large number of survivors hiding in various places, trying to survive. This was the first time that Luo Guang personally felt the significance of anti-biochemical crisis. On the road, two zombies rushed towards Luo Guang side by side. Luo Guang covered his hands with hardened armor, and then hit the head of the zombie in front of him with the right punch, and then hit the head of the zombie on the other side with the back punch. Without Wang Wei by his side, Luo Guang no longer held back. There were still zombies rushing over, and Luo Guang kicked the zombie in the waist with a right whip kick, splitting it in two. After taking a look at the zombie crawling towards Luo Guang stepped on the zombie's head again. With a bang, the main door of the holiday home next to him was knocked open by a zombie and crashed into Luo Guang. Luo Guang reacted quickly, dodged the opponent's arms, and threw the zombie into the swimming pool. Without even looking at the zombie that couldn't swim, Luo Guang shot the zombie that was waving its arms and floating up and down in the swimming pool. With a gunshot, Luo Guang didn't ring the dinner bell, but the death knell for the zombies here. A female zombie jumped from the high stairs and pounced on Luo Guang. Luo Guang found the right opportunity, leaned back, hugged the female zombie with both hands, and directly threw her over his shoulder with a German arch bridge, making the zombie's head come into close contact with the floor. Luo Guang stood up with his waist strength, and then immediately chopped down the zombie attacking from the right with his right leg, taking down another head. As soon as his right foot landed on the ground, Luo Guang kicked his legs and kicked sideways in the air, killing the zombies attacking from the left. Zombies came one after another, but Luo Guang was not afraid. He killed one zombie with one move. Finally, when he killed the 18th zombie, Luo Guang heard footsteps behind him. Wang Wei walked over slowly and saw Luo Guang standing in the middle of a pile of headless corpses. The ground was bloody, which was similar to the scene of the man who wanted to die in the swimming pool. Meow. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tong Miao. Chapter 98. Chapter 96 Immune Ones. Hey? Did you hear what I said? Do you understand what I meant? If you haven't turned into a zombie, just nod your head, nod your head. Logan watched the little brother named Donnie Jack tremblingly raise a baseball bat, and shouted again to the Asian girl who opened her eyes slightly and started to regain consciousness, "I won't ask you again." Sorry. When the Asian girl made some noise, Brother Donnie kept asking the other party the same question, but the other party never responded, and he didn't want to ask any more. There was a bit of sadness and determination in Donnie's tone, and when he was about to smash the baseball bat into the Asian's head, the Asian nodded quickly up and down. But Donnie closed his eyes the moment he swung the baseball bat down, and didn't see the Asian girl nodding. Fortunately, John in the flower-eared shirt next to him stopped him in time and said, "Take it easy. She didn't turn into a zombie." Thank God. After Brother Donnie said this, he felt relieved, his body softened, and he sat down on the ground. "I told you a long time ago that I will be the one to do it. Why are you trying to be so strong?" Logan helped Donnie up, who was about to show off in front of the girl, and continued, "If you want to practice courage, go directly to the zombies outside to practice." After Logan finished speaking, he ignored Donnie and turned to the Asian girl who was shaking her head and asked, "Hello, I'm Logan. We have no ill intentions towards you." Donnie just took the baseball bat. "I'm just worried that you'll turn into those zombies." Zombie. It seemed that there was no damage after the head injury. The Asian girl spoke very clearly and replied, "My name is Xian Mei, where am I? I only remember that I was punched in the head by the zombie, and then I passed out." The Raccoon City incident spread widely, so Xian Mei could understand the meaning of the word zombie. "You are now at the rescue house on the resort beach. You were rescued by Uncle Cinema, who was contacting your friend over there using the radio," Logan replied. "And me, John," the flower shirt man on the side, added. "And you're lucky, like us, you didn't turn into one of those zombies after being bitten," Pina also walked over and said. "Us. You, me, Pina who just spoke, and Sam B over there wearing a gold necklace. The four of us are immune," Logan explained. "I see. By the way, the person contacting you should not be my friend." Xian Mei recalled that when she was in the elevator, someone saw her in trouble through the monitor and guided her how to escape, so she told Cinema and the others about it. "Is he a hacker?" "He claimed to be your friend and asked us to call him Colonel." Cinema has been unable to contact the other party, hoping to find some clues from Xian Mei. I don't know anyone with this code name. By the way, what should we do now? We can't just wait here for rescue, right?" Xian Mei got out of bed. She didn't hesitate about things she couldn't figure out for the time being, and asked about her next plan. "Uncle Cinema is trying to use the radio here to contact the rescue workers, while the others are resting, waiting for the people who set off to the rescue station to send back messages. After that, we will move there to spend the typhoon day." Logan took a look. Xian Mei, wearing high heels under her black stockings, said, "Also, I suggest you change to a new pair of shoes. Even slippers are better than these high heels." Xian Mei looked at her shoes and nodded. She understood that the high heels she was wearing were not suitable for exercise and said, "I understand." Damn it! Just when Xian Mei was still about to ask something, Uncle Cinema suddenly cursed angrily. "What's wrong?" Logan walked over and asked. "I can't contact the Colonel from before." Uncle Cinema threw the radio walkie-talkie on the table and said. Unexpectedly, as soon as Cinema finished speaking, the sound came from the radio. "Hey, is there someone over there? Did you hear it? Are you there?" The signal was a bit noisy. Cinema picked up the walkie-talkie and asked quickly, "Is it the Colonel?" "Ah, is it you? Have you found my friend?" The other party seemed to adjust, and the radio became much clearer. "Listen, your friend in the hotel has woken up, and you are right, she is immune and will not turn into a zombie." Cinema first told the other party about Sien Mei, and then continued, "We met people from the Red Claws. They are looking for the cause of the disaster. If we find it, we can follow them and leave. So if you know the cause of the incident, can you tell us?" Red Claws, the colonel had never heard of this name. He typed on the keyboard for a while and asked, "There is no army with this name in our country. And I don't know the reason for this disaster." Even if he knew it, the colonel had no intention of telling him. "It was our government that contacted foreign countries to request support. After all, we have no experience in dealing with this kind of disaster." When Luo Guan called his superiors, Wang Wei explained some things about the Red Claws to everyone, so Sina Moi was able to answer. "Okay, but I received news that the typhoon is coming. You must prepare quickly," and then. In the middle of the colonel's words, the signal was suddenly interrupted. Cinema anxiously continued to call the other party's channel, but the other party did not respond. This piece of shit." Cinema threw the walkie-talkie back. "This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content." Cinema was about to say something to everyone when suddenly there was a knock on the door of the beach rescue house, which was very loud and seemed to be very anxious. John in the floral shirt was about to open the door, but Pina held him down and stopped him. He shouted to the door, "Who is it?" The person outside the door didn't respond, but knocked on the door harder. There are no windows in the rescue house facing the sea, and no one can see what's going on outside. But the other party didn't respond, and Logan and others had already made a judgment in their hearts: there were zombies outside the door. There were constant knocks on the door, and there seemed to be more and more people knocking on the door. Logan was holding a baseball bat in his hand, and Sam B was holding a paddle in his hand, looking nervously at the door. "Instead of being surprised because we don't know when the other party will break in, why don't we open the door and directly deal with the zombies outside?" Penna's words were immediately rejected by a female college student named Jian Na, who quickly shouted, "We can hold the door and don't let them in." Although Jian Na said this, he did not step forward to help, and hid in a corner of the room, holding a fruit knife he didn't know where he got it from. Several other female college students, like Yana had been frightened when the disaster first started and hid in the same corner, clinging to each other. One of them even grabbed Doni's brother, who was holding a baseball bat, and asked him to stand in front of them. Pina ignored Jian Na's opinion and looked at Cinema and others. Cinema nodded and asked John, the man with the floral shirt who almost caused a disaster, to open the door to the zombies, to open the door. After seeing everyone holding various weapons ready, John in the floral shirt walked to the door. Without hesitation, he reached out and unlocked the door. As a result, the moment the door lock was unlocked, the door was knocked open, and the door opened directly hit John's arm. John felt pain, took a step back, and tripped over a barrel on the ground. Sam B took the lead and hit the zombie's face with an oar, causing the zombie to stumble and blocking the way of the zombie on the other side. And taking advantage of this opportunity, John did not get up, but rolled away from the door. Logan followed, holding the baseball bat high, using his 10 years of experience as a baseball player, and directly hit the bat to kill the staggering zombie. "Beautiful," Cinema said, and joined the battle with an oar. "Sam, you and I hold the zombies with oars, and the others are responsible for killing them as soon as possible. John, come over and help hold them up. The zombies are very powerful, and the strong Sam B thinks it's nothing, but Cinema, you need someone to help, which is safer. There are about 5 zombies outside the door, but only 2 can come in at the same time, so placing the zombies against the door can prevent zombies from swarming in." After hearing what Cinema said, the flower shirt John quickly found a broom and came over to help. Sien Mei, who was on the side, looked around, then snatched the baseball bat from Donnie's hand. Regardless of the curse words of the female college students, she played knock-a-mole with Logan and Pina. After a while, they were solved one by Xianmei, the four of them, BasedonaMovie and others. The four immune people threw the zombie corpses blocking the door onto the beach outside and closed the door again. Fortunately, we opened the door, otherwise we wouldn't be able to close it now. John in the floral shirt threw the broom and said with a breath. The fighting just now was quite loud, and this wooden house doesn't look safe. It seems we can't stay here for long, Xianmei said. Cinema nodded and said, but the people who are going to clean up the rescue station have to contact us through this radio. If we leave and the situation there is not good, it will be troublesome. Luo Guang and the others had walkie-talkies, but Luo Guang didn't tell them. Sam B said, I think those zombies can't beat Luo Guang and the two of them, right? After all, they came here fully armed and had guns on them, so there is a high probability that they can take them down at the rescue station. But, I don't think I heard the sound of their shooting. Logan on the side took over, and John, who was sitting on the ground next to him, also nodded, indicating that he didn't hear it either. Cinema looked at the people in the house and said, maybe we were far away so we didn't hear it. Besides, there are 10 of us here. Although the pickup truck can carry all of them, if we encounter problems on the road, if so, I might have to throw a few people to the ground. We are all weak women and have to take a bus. When one of the female college students wearing an orange and white bikini heard Cinema's words, she felt that he wanted some people to walk over, and then said, them, all 4 of them. They are immune, just let them kill them all the way, they are not afraid of being bitten anyway. Jenny, although Yana was afraid of death, he was not brainless. Looking at the twitching veins on the head of the muscular Sam B, he quickly stopped Jenny. Jenny was scolded by the leader of the small team, Jian Na, and felt a little aggrieved, but looking at the Xianmei people who were staring at her, she did not dare to say anything more. Logan once accidentally killed a young girl. Seeing the cowering Jenny, he felt uncomfortable for a moment. He sighed and said, I'll walk there. Hey, Logan, now that you mention it, shouldn't I walk with you? Pina used to be a senior police officer at the Sydney Police Department. Later, she was dismissed because of a case. In recent years, she became a bodyguard for those rich people she didn't like in order to make a living. But she still had the integrity of her past as a police officer, so Pina's tone was a little relaxed when she said this, indicating that she would walk with Logan. Xianmei also has police career experience, but she is an active police officer and a member of the first female anti-black team. Unfortunately, no matter how hard their female team works, they have never had the opportunity to perform tasks on the front line, becoming a show-off of their police station to support gender equality. So Xianmei also took the baseball bat she got from Donnie's little brother and walked to Logan and the others, indicating that she would walk over too. Sam B is not as conscious as the first 3. He is just a person who was addicted to a life of luxury and drug abuse. Now he wants to become a popular hip-hop singer again in order to pick up his life again. But at this time, the other 3 immune people said that they could walk, so Sam B naturally couldn't stay alone, so he regarded it as a test of his rebirth. He sang a sentence while cursing, and said with a paddle, then let's walk together. Logan and the other 4 took their weapons, said goodbye to Cinemayi and John, and then set off for the rescue station first. Along the road by the beach, Sam B was still cursing the people in the rescue house, saying, why did you take the initiative to give up the opportunity to take a car? It's so dangerous to walk all the way. Look, they are still staying in the house, waiting for us to attract the zombies outside. I'm a policeman. Xianmei's words were enough to answer Sam B's question. I'm a former policeman. Pina looked at Xianmei meaningfully. She saw Xianmei working as a hotel waitress in the hotel, but she didn't expect her to be a policeman. Although she didn't know why Xianmei dressed up as a hotel waitress, it didn't matter at this moment. Logan looked like he didn't want to answer. After everyone looked at him, he said, "I was just soft-hearted for personal reasons. My God, two of us used to be police officers. No wonder you have such a strong sense of justice." Sam was shocked. Although he has now turned over a new leaf and is determined to make a new life, he used to be a person who used to take banned drugs and had dealings with the police several times. After all, Pina has experienced a lot of ups and downs. She said, "No matter what, we still have to unite to face this biochemical crisis. Moreover, we are all immune, so we can be said to be passengers on the same ship. Alas, I know that this distribution is reasonable, but Jenny's words are too harsh." Sam B also understood that this distribution was reasonable, but Jenny's words made him angry. I understand Logan also felt that he must have been wrong to take the initiative to propose to leave. More importantly, before he left, he saw no gratitude in Jenny's eyes, only fear of himself and other immune people. Logan patted Sam B's broad back and said, "Don't be angry. It's not worth it to be angry with that kind of person. Besides, Uncle Cinemayi saved you and me after all, so don't make things difficult for him." Sam B replied, "I know," and took the paddle and ran forward, hitting the zombies in front of him. Thank you all for your subscriptions and votes. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 99. Chapter 97, Rescue Station. Put the time back 10 minutes ago. Luo Guang took Wang Wei all the way to chop melons and vegetables, and finally arrived at the rescue station. After clearing away the zombies blocking the wall of the rescue station, the iron door at the door was locked, so Luo Guang climbed over the wall and went in to open the iron door for Wang Wei. The two walked in and observed the environment here. In the open space in front of the rescue station, Luo Guang saw no zombies or bloodstains. It seemed safe. The rescue station has a total of 4 floors. The first and second floors are duplex structures, and the third floor is a rooftop, and there is also a small watchtower. There were no cars in the parking lot outside the rescue station, and Luo Guang didn't see any signs indicating the entrance and exit of the underground parking lot. He thought that the ambulances Cinema mentioned might have been driven out. The reason why Luo Guang cares about the car is because the towns and resorts on Bainoi Island are divided by the mountains in the center of the island. In addition to water transportation, there is also a mountain tunnel connecting the two sides. The distance is not close. Although Luo Guang has enough endurance to run all the way, Wang Wei can't, so it is more convenient to drive. Luo Guang did not relax his vigilance because he did not see the zombies. He used Cinema's access card to open the rolling shutter door of the rescue station. Luo Guang didn't wait for the rolling shutter door to fully rise. After taking a few steps back, he knelt on his right knee, half crouched and bent sideways, lowering his body to confirm the situation inside. It was very empty inside, and it looked like it should be a place where cars were repaired or where ambulances were parked. There was a zombie kneeling on its knees, using both hands to dig into the abdomen of a corpse to eat. As the rolling shutter door opened upward, the sound became louder, disturbing the zombie's interest in eating. The zombie turned his head towards the rolling shutter door and stood up. Unlike other zombies, the zombie in front of him was 2.5 meters tall when he stood up, with a strong build. His eyes seemed to be able to see Luo Guang, and he kept looking towards Luo Guang's position. "It seems like this is a new variant," Luo Guang said to Wang Wei. Seeing this change in the other party, Luo Guang felt a little pity in his heart. His strength and flexibility had been modified many times, so integrating the same type of virus would not be of much use. If there was nothing special about the Resident Evil virus this time, Luo Guang would not intend to fuse it. Wang Wei replied, "I don't know whether he was that high originally or whether he became high after infection." After saying that, Wang Wei raised the G36C assault rifle in his hand, and when the zombie rushed in front of the two of them, he fired half of the magazine. Although Luo Guang felt there was no need to waste bullets, Wang Wei had already fired, so forget it. He could also attract the zombies in the rescue station to make noise. As expected, Wang Wei looked at the zombies lying on the ground and said. Luo Guang looked at Wang Wei, "Did you find something? Why didn't you start?" "I discovered something by the swimming pool in front of Cinema's house." While Wang Wei replaced a full magazine, he continued, "The knife inserted into the corpse in front of the man was at the heart of the corpse, not the head." "You mean these zombies are different from the zombies infected with the T-virus, and they can be killed without hitting them on the head?" Wang Wei nodded and said, "It seems that the possibility that this disaster is the T-virus is getting smaller and smaller, and there is another point. Luo Guang, you have defeated the enemy with one move before, so you may not have noticed that the blood inside the zombie is flowing." Luo Guang looked at the zombie. Wang Wei had just shot the zombie's artery. It did spurt out a slender column of blood, but the bleeding stopped quickly. "This is good information, let's take a photo." Although the zombie has fallen to the ground, Luo Guang still asked Wang Wei to take photos and records. Wang Wei obeyed the order, took out his camera, approached the zombie, clicked a few times, and took photos of the zombie as a whole and its wounds. Then the two of them went to the second floor through the door on the side. Many things on the second floor of the rescue station were staggered, and it seemed that the people working here left in a hurry. After Luo Guang and the two searched, they didn't see even a single body on the entire second floor. So Luo Guang and the two went to the third floor rooftop again. The rooftop was filled with all kinds of debris. However, Luo Guang did not study the use of those debris for the time being, but walked into the watchtower. This observation tower is a bit like a broadcast station. When you walk in, you can see radio stations, computers, broadcast consoles and other equipment. Luo Guang asked Wang Wei to contact BasedonaMovie and the others, while he checked the duty records of the radio station to see if he could find any clues in them. A lot of violence, shortage of rescuers. Luo Guang looked at the duty record and said, "It seems that there are no useful clues in it. It just describes the chaotic scene at the beginning of the biological crisis. Speaking of which, I don't know if people here have the habit of keeping diaries." Luo Guang rummaged through the surrounding documents again to see if there were any diary notes or anything like that. "Who in the right mind writes a diary?" Wang Wei replied casually, and then said after a while, "Guang." No one from BasedonaMovie responded. "I don't know what happened." After Wang Wei finished speaking, she came to Luo Guang, handed Luo Guang a piece of paper, and said, "This is a message from the staff here. I am Augustine Dumais, who is on duty tonight. A lot of violence has occurred on the island. I heard that there was even cannibalism. All the rescuers at the rescue station have been sent out, and some people have fled directly. I am the only one left in front of the radio. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. My 7-year-old son, who I once taught how to use the radio, contacted me and asked me to go home quickly. I don't know what happened in the town, but I think it is probably related to the recent violence, so my son asked me to go back and protect them. I haven't received any distress messages here for a while, and the rescuers have not returned, so I plan to leave my post and go home. I left a radio channel and my home address on the back of the paper. You can try to contact me or come to find me if I am still alive at that time. Wish me good luck." After reading the content of the message, Luo Guang said, "The clothes worn by the gnawed corpse on the first floor seem to be similar to those of Cinema Yi. Are you saying that the corpse belongs to the person who left the message?" Wang Wei asked. Luo Guang shook his head to indicate that he didn't know, and said, "I hope he can see his family alive. What should we do now?" "Set off for the town." Cinema and the others didn't respond, so Wang Wei didn't want to wait here, so he asked. "Maybe the other party has something to do and can't be contacted for the time being." Luo Guang said, "Why? The mission period is still long. I just have a bad feeling in my heart." Wang Wei thought for a while, lowered his head slightly, and said, that Dr. Serper doesn't seem trustworthy, but our evacuation method is controlled by him. I feel the same way. But for the retreat, I have other ways, but I need to have enough chips, Luo Guang said cryptically. Bargain, Wang Wei said, hasn't your communication channel with Umbrella been cut off? The top management of our European branch has changed all the contact methods, completely cutting off the contact channels for those of us who were sent out. Luo Guang did not admit it, and said directly, anyway, we just need to investigate this biochemical crisis clearly. As for the evacuation, there are plenty of ways. Although Luo Guang did not say it clearly, Wang Wei trusted Luo Guang, so he did not raise any new questions and brought the topic back to the original question. Luo Guang replied, wait here for a while. Well, if the typhoon is coming, let's stay here until it leaves. I don't want you to be blown away by the typhoon halfway. What are you talking about? Wang Wei said, and he straightened the 2 lumps of fat on his chest and said, I still have some weight. Anyway, let's do this. Although I know you are not tired, after all, we have been traveling all the way here and have not rested. It's better to take a break at this time. Only after a good rest can we perform the task better. After Luo Guang finished speaking, he said, I will go and throw away the 2 bodies first. I will go with you. No, you just continue to call Cinema Yi and the others. After Luo Guang finished speaking, he waved his hand and walked downstairs. On the first floor, he opened the door of the stairwell. Luo Guang narrowed his eyes and saw that the corpse whose abdomen was eaten out had a thigh with bones gnawed out, which had not been gnawed before. With full vigilance, Luo Guang stood at the door and did not go into the place. After closing the door gently, Luo Guang went up to the second floor, flipped out from the window sill, and returned to the shutter door on the first floor. Swipe the card to open the door again. Luo Guang saw that the zombie who had been knocked down before was hiding by the wall on the right side of the door that Luo Guang had just opened. Hearing the sound of the shutter door opening, the zombie with bullet holes all over his body turned his head with a dazed look. Looks like he has some brains, Luo Guang was a little surprised, but then added, it's a pity that he is mentally retarded. As if understanding what Luo Guang said to scold him, the zombie roared and rushed towards Luo Guang. Bang! Luo Guang didn't want to get entangled with that guy. Worried about being infected by the fool, Luo Guang quickly pulled out the M4S90 shotgun behind him and smashed the opponent's head with one shot. After solving the zombie, Luo Guang did not drag the zombie out immediately, but walked towards the corpse that had been eaten. After searching the trouser pockets of the corpse, a car key and a wallet were found directly in the pockets. In the wallet, in addition to money, there was also a photo of a family of 3. Guang, are you okay? Wang Wei's voice suddenly came from behind. It was Wang Wei who came down to check the situation after hearing the gunshots. Wang Wei went to the first floor and took a glance. She found Luo Guang, who was safe, and the zombie whose head had changed position and was smashed. She immediately understood what happened. I'm fine. It seems that this corpse is indeed the person who left a message on the 3rd floor. Luo Guang held up the opened wallet and showed Wang Wei the smiling family photo inside. Well, did the zombie come back to life? Wang Wei just responded and immediately asked about the zombie. Luo Guang told Wang Wei his guess and said, it may have been in a state of suspended animation before, and then it stood up again after gnawing on the corpse's thigh. I'm sorry, it was Wang Wei who tried to solve the zombie by not hitting the head before, so she apologized to Luo Guang. Luo Guang didn't care and said, no need to apologize. After all, we don't have the conditions and time to conduct scientific and rigorous research on these. Just pay attention to this when facing the zombies here in the future. Just as the two were talking, a car sound came. It was Cinema Yi and his group. Where are Logan and his group? Luo Guang walked out and opened the iron gate outside. When he saw that the people getting off the car were not immune to Logan and his group, he asked hurriedly. Uncle Sinemayi looked a little unhappy and said in a somewhat aggressive tone, "If we carry too many people in the car, it will be difficult to deal with danger, so they are forced to walk here by themselves." Luo Guang didn't know what happened between them, but he felt that Sinemayi's anger was not directed at him. They are immune, and it won't matter if they are bitten. Jenny, who had quarreled with Sinemayi for a few words in the car, heard Sinemayi's words and replied from behind. "You know, people may not die if they are shot, but it will definitely hurt." Luo Guang was unhappy with Jenny's words, turned his head, looked past Sinemayi, and said to Jenny with a slight smile. Jenny was speechless for a moment, looked at the gun in Luo Guang's hand, and finally muttered in a low voice, "I was telling the truth." "I was telling the truth too." Luo Guang had good hearing and replied. Jenny glared at Luo Guang, snorted, and decided not to pay attention to him, and Luo Guang did not intend to play tricks on him. One of the women was comforting Jenny, and Jana, who knew who she could rely on now, did not speak, but apologized to the others with gestures. Donnie Jack also did not speak. After watching the three girls enter the rescue station, he said to Luo Guang, "Sorry, they. It's okay, I just hate the face of those who benefit." Luo Guang said to Donnie. "Okay. But I think it's because everyone is under too much pressure recently, so they speak without restraint," Donnie said, and he was about to say goodbye to Luo Guang. Luo Guang called him and said, "Donnie, you are a wise man. I advise you to think more about yourself and not be a licker around them." Although it was the first time that Donnie heard the word licker, he immediately understood what Luo Guang meant. "Thank you, but I know my limits," Donnie said, and turned to chase the three people. Donnie also understood that he was just a shield found by the three people at this time. He has always lived in the shadow of his friend, a tall, rich and handsome man named Wayne. He also invited Donnie and others to the strip. But Wayne was bitten by a zombie on the first day of the outbreak and turned into a zombie. Donnie found an opportunity to show off in front of the girls and solve Wayne, who turned into a zombie. At this time, he remembered the admiring eyes of the girls at that time, and he couldn't help shuddering and exhaling comfortably. So this is Donnie's choice, and at the same time he also wants to become stronger and bolder to protect his goddess Jane. As for the other two classmates who often laugh at him, he doesn't care. In this case, Luo Guang did not say anything else. The other party was also an adult, and he should bear the consequences of his own choice. Seeing that Sinemayi and others had entered the door, Luo Guang closed the door. When he was about to continue asking about Logan and others, Luo Guang saw Logan and others running from a distance, but they did not come from the road on the beach. "Logan and others are here," Luo Guang said, and opened the door again for those precious immunes and stood at the door to welcome them. Meow. The conditions and building structures of most places have been changed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 100. Chapter 98. Xian Mei's physical changes. After dragging the two bodies on the first floor out of the door, Luo Guang and others gathered on the second floor. At Sinemayi's suggestion, everyone found a good place to sit down and began to discuss the future plan and confirm the current course of action. "Luo, I think you are the ones who know best how to deal with this kind of biochemical crisis among us, so I want to hear your opinion first." Sinemayi spoke first. But Luo Guang shook his head and said, "The zombies, the head is their weakness, only by destroying it can they stop completely. Apart from that, the advice I can give is to be cautious again and again. Sinemayi, I think now we need to rely on your knowledge over the years to see how we can survive this typhoon weather." Sinemayi nodded. He didn't believe that Luo Guang didn't know how to prepare in advance to deal with the typhoon. But he felt that Luo Guang and himself and others might have to act separately after the typhoon, so Luo Guang might do this to make him the leader of the survivors here. Cinema thought for a while and said, "First, we need to confirm the safety of this rescue station, check if there are other zombies here, and check if there are any gaps in the outer fence, etc." Logan said, "Sam and I can do this together." After that, Logan looked at Sam B and asked for his opinion. Sam B knew that Logan wanted to talk to him about something, so he nodded without objection. On the other side, Pina and Cianmei communicated and said, "Then let's count and confirm the inventory here." "Okay, then the others will be responsible for sorting it out here and see if these beds can be made. I will continue to sit in the radio communication station on the third floor and collect various information." Cinema also assigned the tasks of the remaining survivors. As for Luo Guang and the other two, they just helped him and others take down the rescue station, so Cinema was embarrassed to ask them to do anything else. Soon, the two who counted the supplies came back and found Cinema and Luo Guang in the watchtower. Cianmei said, "There are a lot of medical supplies in the warehouse, but not much food and water. If we eat 1 or 1.5 meals a day, we can last about a week if our number does not increase. That's not enough. Cinema's goal is to have a 30-day supply reserve, and it's not about saving food. Because they still need enough physical strength to complete various tasks, at least when being chased by zombies, they don't have to be weak because of hunger. We will set off to the town after the typhoon, and we can loot on the way." Luo Guang is very familiar with this matter. When he was in Raccoon City, he had eaten free meals in several homestays. Cinema nodded. In this way, the pressure on supplies will be slightly less. When several people were discussing how to find food, Logan and Sam B also came back and found Cinema and others. "Cinema, there is no problem with the wall, and other places in the rescue station have been checked," Sam B said in his loud voice. "That's good. We were just talking about food reserves. The reserves are not enough. Do you have any good suggestions?" Cinema asked Logan and the others to join in. Logan said, "Then we can only go to other places to find food, right? For example, the hotel in the resort." Cianmei said the same thing when she was in the warehouse. She said that the hotel had just received food the day before the outbreak and could take us to get it. Pina nodded. "We again? Let Jenny and the others go." Sam B's reaction was a bit exaggerated. Their journey to the rescue station was very dangerous, so they were forced to take a long detour. This time Logan also nodded and said, "Don't count me in this time." When the two of them checked safety just now, they decided to form a united front. Cianmei wanted to say something, but Luo Guang spoke first and said, "It's true that you don't owe them anything. There's no need to take everything on yourself." Cinema was a little helpless. He really wanted Logan and the others to go again to get food. After all, Logan and the others would not become zombies because of a little injury. But he also understood that Logan and his team had no obligation to selflessly contribute to the rest of the team. If he hadn't done a favor to the 4 people, the 4 of them could have gone to other places to start a new business and survive without Jenny, who was a burden who could do nothing and couldn't control her mouth. Thinking of this, Cinema glanced at Luo Guang. Luo Guang's words just now made Cinema understand that in Luo Guang's eyes, the 4 immune people were the most important, and ordinary people like him were just incidental. If Logan and his team left here, Cinema felt that Luo Guang might not take them with him when he took Logan and his team away. "Well, let me talk to the people below first." There were still a few days before the food was finished, and Cinema could only say this first to see if he could find a way to balance the interests and risks of both parties, otherwise the team would be disbanded sooner or later. "I'll go." Cianmei stood up and said. Pina noticed that Cianmei glanced at her before she said this, but after listening to Luo Guang's words, she also felt that she really shouldn't continue to be so selfless and take risks. And she didn't want to repeat the same mistake. In the past, she only lost her police job, but now she would lose her life. In addition, after she and others came back, Jian-na and other college students didn't say a word of concern, so Peina didn't follow Xianmei to stand up this time. Xianmei was a little disappointed, but she also understood that the other party had his own concerns, so she didn't say anything or accuse the other party. There was no response for a while, but Cinema finally stood up and said, "It's too dangerous for you to be alone. If nothing else, how can you resist the zombies while carrying food?" "Wang Wei and I will go with her," Luo Guang said upon seeing this. It just so happened that Luo Guang could take this opportunity to observe whether the immune person's combat ability had changed differently from ordinary people. "Just do what you said." It was just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the hotel was not far away, so Luo Guang took Wang Wei and Xianmei and drove away from the rescue station to look for food. "Thank you," Xianmei said to Luo Guang, who was driving. "You're welcome." Luo Guang had his own purpose, so he didn't find this troublesome. Wang Wei was sitting in the passenger seat and asked, "Speaking of which, Xianmei, why do you take these risks to do such a thing?" "To be honest, food shortage is a problem that all of you have to face, and those college students should also contribute a share. Strength is the right thing." Luo Guang and Wang Wei didn't know that Xianmei was actually a police officer, so Xianmei briefly explained to Luo Guang and Wang Wei. "Is your undercover hotel related to this disaster?" Luo Guang did not ask the other party about the specific content of the undercover mission. Xianmei, who knew that Luo Guang was investigating this biological crisis, replied readily, "It doesn't matter. I am a member of the women's anti-gang team, so naturally I am here to fight against gangs and eliminate evil." Luo Guang nodded and did not ask any more questions about the undercover agent. He drove around the zombies blocking the road and continued to drive forward. When he encountered a fork in the road, Luo Guang did not turn left, but continued to move forward. "Luo Guang, you're going the wrong way," Xianmei said quickly when she saw that Luo Guang did not go to the left to enter the area where the hotel was. Luo Guang did not make a mistake. He had already memorized the map of Bainoi Island in his mind. But when he was driving, he noticed that the car's oil light was on, so he planned to go to the gas station first. "The car is running low on gas. Let's go refuel first." "You should also be able to find some food at the gas station," Luo Guang replied. Xianmei wanted to say that turning left to the hotel was only a few hundred meters away and didn't use much gas, but Luo Guang was the one driving the car, so she didn't say anything. Anyway, there wasn't much time left. Because there were not many abandoned cars along the way and the road was not blocked by those cars, Luo Guang and others arrived at the gas station relatively smoothly. Wang Wei and Xianmei got out of the car first and started cleaning up the zombies at the gas station. After Luo Guang got out of the car, he immediately killed the gas station employee who came forward, searched him, and found several pieces of cash on him. He stood up and looked at Xianmei. Different from Luo Guang's imagination, Xianmei's fighting style was quite fierce. He was waving a baseball bat with a wide range of moves, but he could always hit the zombie one step ahead. "Zombie head. I thought Xianmei would have a skill-based fighting style," Luo Guang said after seeing Xianmei finish dealing with the enemy. "Well, I am indeed that type." When Luo Guang said this, Xianmei hid the bloody baseball bat behind her back a little embarrassed, and then said, "It's just that I found that to deal with those zombies, it's better to kill him with a stick." "Guang, your mountaineering pickaxe on the other side." Wang Wei also finished cleaning up and returned the mountaineering pickaxe that Luo Guang gave her. After Luo Guang put down the mountaineering pickaxe, he continued, "Xianmei, your strength is also very good. You don't have much muscles, but you can kill a zombie in one go." After hearing Luo Guang's words, Xianmei thought for a while and then said, "Actually, I didn't have that much strength before. It was only after I woke up from a coma that my strength became stronger." When Luo Guang and Wang Wei heard Xianmei's words, they looked at each other and had guesses in their minds. Seeing the two of them acting like this, Xianmei seemed to know something, so she asked, Do you know why this is? We just have a guess. Luo Guang did not hide it and told Xian Mei, we found from the incident in Raccoon City that certain viruses can enhance human body capabilities. Are you saying that I was infected by the virus spreading on this island, and my body became stronger because of it? Wang Wei replied, I don't know, so I call it speculation. But I am sure that your great increase in strength is not because you have awakened some superpower. Xian Mei nodded and said, as long as it's not a bad thing, it's just right for my current situation. Apart from you, have others become stronger in this way? Luo Guang wanted to confirm whether the virus would mutate differently depending on the status of the immune recipients. Xian Mei replied, I have not discussed this with them, and I don't know if they have the same feelings, so I'm sorry, but I can't answer your question. Okay. After understanding the matter and collecting some combat data on the immune, Luo Guang returned his attention to the original task. After finding some cash that had not been soaked in blood from several zombies, Luo Guang finally collected enough money to refuel. After putting the cash into the gas pump, Luo Guang picked up the oil gun and filled the car with gas. Then, several people drove their cars full of gas and headed to the hotel. The resort hotel is a huge triangular building. It looks a bit like a pyramid from the front, but it is full of modern atmosphere. The roadsides on both sides are beautifully decorated and full of tropical scenery. The roller shutter door of the underground garage was closed, so Luo Guang parked the car directly near the main entrance. After taking the key and locking the car, he and Wang Wei entered the hotel together. There were no lights on in the hotel, and there were constant sounds of clicking. Through the light outside, Luo Guang saw the zombies who were eating. Luo Guang did not shoot immediately, but whispered to Xian Mei about the location of the light button. Xian Mei half bent over, lowered her footsteps, walked slowly to the light switch, tried to press it, but there was no response. Xian Mei looked around and saw that a safety escape indicator light had lit up in the distance, so she knew that there was a power outage here. There was no power outage here before I fainted, but I didn't expect it to be out of power now. Xian Mei, who came back, told Luo Guang the situation. Xian Mei glanced at the sky outside while saying this. The sun was setting. If there is a power outage, we can only hope that the food has not spoiled, Luo Guang said as he took out his shotgun, turned on the flashlight under the barrel, and said, darkness is the best cover for zombies. Be careful. Do we need to clean up those zombies too? Wang Wei pointed to his gun and asked Luo Guang in sign language. Luo Guang shook his head, indicating that they should not shoot unless necessary, because they themselves did not know how many zombies were hiding here. After that, Luo Guang asked Xian Mei to show him the way to the hotel's food storage room. The food was delivered to the food storage room on the first floor through the elevator in the unloading area of the underground garage. The food storage room was on the inside of the first floor of the hotel, below the kitchen of the restaurant on the second floor. Xian Mei suggested going through the side door of the lobby to bypass the zombies in the lobby to go to the food storage room, and Luo Guang nodded in agreement. Luo Guang handed Xian Mei the flashlight that Officer Marvin had customized, so that she would not have any lighting tools if they got separated. The first person to go was Luo Guang, who carefully pushed open the side door point by point, constantly observing the situation behind the door. The side door seemed to have been specially treated, and the sound of opening and closing was very light. After confirming that it was safe, Luo Guang flashed in, followed by Xian Mei and Wang Wei, who was responsible for the rear guard and protection of Xian Mei. After entering the door, the corridor was very dark, with only the faint light of the safety indicator. The zombies, whose heads were green under the light of the escape light, basically stood still and did not wander around. Luo Guang took out the mountaineering pick and asked Wang Wei and Xian Mei to wait behind him. He smiled at the zombies and touched them. The gas station here is not the one that you pass by on the way to the town. Also, there is a new CG movie of Resident Evil recently, named Resident Evil, Dead Island, which is exactly the same as what I am writing now in a sense. Asterisk. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 101. Chapter 99, Rescue Mission. Xianmei looked at Luo Guang, who was killing people in the front, and said to Wang Wei, "You trained people are different. Those dangerous zombies are not even a match for Luo Guang. If you came here at the beginning of the outbreak, you might be able to save more people." Although they were doing something very dangerous, Xianmei felt like she was strolling in the garden. Wang Wei nodded. When she heard Xianmei praising Luo Guang, she said happily, "Luo Guang is the elite of the Red Claws. As for the problem of coming early or late, there are too many twists and turns. It will take a while to carry out the mission across borders." "Then do you Red Claws still recruit people?" Xianmei envied Wang Wei, a woman who was sent to the front line instead of being a vase in the army. Wang Wei thought about the situation of the Red Claws and said, "We are not recruiting people for the time being, but if you want to join, you can ask Luo Guang for help." "That's not necessary. I still have some things to deal with. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely try to join you." Xianmei joined the women's anti-black group to catch the real murderer who killed her father, so she has no intention of leaving the anti-black group for the time being. The two walked and chatted, and Luo Guang kept waving a mountaineering pickaxe in front to open the way forward. Because a zombie broke a decorative vase when it fell, the zombie was alarmed, so Xianmei and Wang Wei only had to ensure the safety behind them to chat in a low voice at an inappropriate time. The hotel is very large, but Luo Guang's side belongs to the work area of the hotel staff, which occupies a small area, and the road is very simple and not roundabout. The few people soon came to the food storage room, and then found that the cold storage used in the food storage room here is a password lock, or the kind that needs electricity to open. "Xianmei, don't you know that the door of this cold storage needs electricity to open?" "I'm sorry, I only know where this place is, but I don't know how to open it." Xianmei apologized directly. "Well, who would have thought that this cold storage is as well guarded as the vault?" Wang Wei came out to smooth things over. Luo Guang didn't continue to talk about this point, and asked, "That means we need to restore the power now, do you have any clues?" Xianmei rolled her eyes and said, "I know where the switches are, but I'm afraid that the power outage is caused by other reasons." "Let's go and take a look first." In any case, they had to go and take a look. Luo Guang asked Xianmei to show the way, and the three continued to set off. The main power light in the distribution room was on normally. Xianmei touched the back of her head and said, "This is troublesome." Xianmei was just a hotel waiter. It took her a long time to figure out the environment here. In this situation, she obviously didn't know what to do. Luo Guang used the flashlight of the shotgun to check the situation above the distribution room and said, "Maybe the security system is locked? I see the light of the security system here is red." Xianmei came over, looked around Luo Guang and said, "Could it be caused by a fire? But when I escaped from the hotel, I took the elevator, and the monitoring and broadcasting were also available." "Dare to take the elevator during a fire," Luo Guang continued, "forget it, we don't have any clues now anyway, let's go to the security room to check." As soon as Luo Guang and Xianmei finished talking, Wang Wei inserted himself between the two and looked at Xianmei with a vigilant look. How could Xianmei, who was also a woman, not know what Wang Wei meant by this action? She quickly opened her palms and shook her hands at Wang Wei to show that she didn't mean that. Luo Guang didn't care about those things, and asked Xianmei to continue leading the way. Then the three of them met a hotel security guard near the security room. "Oh, living people," seeing Luo Guang and others were very excited, the other party said to Luo Guang, "Hey, buddy. You don't look like a tourist. Is the military rescue coming?" Luo Guang poured cold water on him and said, "Sorry, we are not here to rescue, we are here to investigate the situation." Damn it! Hearing Luo Guang's words, the other party cursed and said, Is the military just going to watch the survivors on this island die? Luo Guang followed the other party's wishes and sighed and said, they are worried that there is an infection here, so the higher UPS must first investigate and confirm the source of the outbreak, etc., and then they will officially send out the rescue team. Okay, the security guard felt that Luo Guang was just a soldier and could not influence the orders of the upper level, so he asked, then why are you here? I don't think there should be anything like the source you are looking for here. Luo Guang said that he didn't come here for that matter, so he told the other party about the rescue station and asked about the power outage in the hotel. Oh, you actually helped the survivors on the way, you are really good people. The power outage in most parts of the hotel was indeed caused by the fire, but the fire has been put out by the fire prevention system here, but part of the security system was burned, causing problems with the entire security system and blocking key corridors and rooms in many places. If you want to restore power, you need to restart the computer system. The rooms where the computers are located are on another power line, so they will not be affected by the power outage of the security system and can still be used. The protection measures of your hotel are a bit outrageous, so how do you restart the security system? Luo Guang asked. The security guard did not explain the reason for the outrageous protective measures, nor did he answer Luo Guang's question. Instead, he said, I need you to help me save someone first. Yes, but let's agree first that if he is dead when we find him, you will tell us. Luo Guang agreed straightforwardly. Deal, but if you want to restart the system, you have to find him anyway. He has an ID card on him, which needs to be used together with the one on me to restart the system. Then where is he now? Xian Mei asked. The security guard said, my name is Mike Davis, and the guy who had the accident was named Ken. The accident happened when he was searching for survivors in the hotel. He is a good guy. Even if the situation is so dangerous now, he insists on going there every day, search and rescue survivors on all floors of the hotel. After speaking, Mike told Luo Guang the location of the man and said, he is now trapped in room 0805 on the 8th floor. He is injured. You should go there quickly. Then inform him and we will go there now. After saying that, Luo Guang took Xian Mei and left here. Do you have to climb so many floors? Xian Mei felt that her feet were getting a little tired after hearing the location Mike mentioned. Even so, the three of them arrived at the 8th floor without stopping. Fortunately, Luo Guang and the others were well-trained people and could climb 6 floors without losing breath. But Wang Wei looked at Luo Guang, who didn't even sweat a drop, and her face was rosy. She seemed to have thought of something and secretly laughed. With Luo Guang leading the way, Wang Wei and Xian Mei didn't take any action, and they quickly found the injured security guard Ken. Luo Guang saw a folding knife inserted into Ken's wound, probably near the cecum. The security guard named Ken was also surprised when he saw the costumes of Luo Guang and others. Mike did not tell him that the people who came to save him were fully armed, which made him think that the people who came to save him were civilians. How did you do this? After explaining his purpose, Luo Guang's first question was this. He directly held down the person who was about to get up and asked him to lie down first. The woman in room 0808 contacted me using the wireless intercom and asked me to rescue her. Then I went to find her, but as soon as I opened the door, she rushed out and stabbed me. She was just a crazy woman. Luo Guang discovered that there was a slight discrepancy between what Ken said and what Mike said. Mike did not mention that the survivors in room 0808 contacted Ken, but only said that Ken was looking for survivors in the hotel as usual. Luo Guang signaled to Wang Wei and asked her to guard the door. Then Luo Guang said to security guard Ken, okay, I'll see how I can help you, but luckily you didn't pull out the knife. Don't look at it. I need morphine and hemostatic drugs. We have those things in the infirmary. Please help me get those things back quickly. Ken's injury was not particularly serious, but his tone began to become weak at this time. No, I have it with me too. The small medical kit in Luo Guang's backpack has been upgraded several times and contains many important drugs, including morphine and trauma ointments produced by Umbrella. Luo Guang did not give Ken an injection of morphine, and asked Xian Mei to help him pull out the folding knife, while he was responsible for applying green trauma ointment and wrapping a bandage. The trauma ointment produced by Umbrella was surprisingly effective and quickly stopped the bleeding. Is this an ointment sold by Umbrella? Xian Mei was surprised when she saw the Umbrella logo on the ointment box. Luo Guang glanced at Xian Mei and said, "What's all the fuss about? Umbrella Company's ointment has no other substitute, so we only use this ointment." "Well, I just think that you people who are determined to fight against biohazards should refuse to use Umbrella's products. Human life is much more valuable," Luo Guang replied, and Wang Wei, who was on guard at the door, also nodded. The two of them were not as hostile to Umbrella Company as much as Jill and the others. After bandaging the wound, Ken took a few breaths and said, "Then let's get out of here quickly. By the way, there's also the woman from 0808 you just mentioned, Ken. Do we want to take a look?" Xian Mei asked. When Xian Mei took out the folding knife, Ken kept staring at the career line on his chest. This made Xian Mei feel sick and also made her distrustful of Ken, so she made this suggestion. "What? You are actually going to find that crazy woman?" Ken's reaction was huge and he tore the wound. He frowned in pain, but he still endured the pain and said, "Just let that kind of woman fend for herself. Take me back quickly. You and Xian Mei go take a look, be careful." When Luo Guang directed the two women to find the woman in room 0808, he saw Ken's eyes evasive, which made Luo Guang suspicious. Wang Wei obeyed the order and asked Xian Mei to follow her to room 0808. The door was closed, and Wang Wei didn't rush to knock on the door. She and Xian Mei checked the blood stains on the ground together. "Huh," Xian Mei made a strange sound. Wang Wei looked at Xian Mei and said nothing so as not to disturb Xian Mei's thinking. Xian Mei did not keep Wang Wei waiting for long and said, "Ken said that when he opened the door, the woman rushed out and stabbed him. Normally there should be some fresh blood here, but there is no blood at all here. No. There were zombies and bodies of tourists who were killed in the corridor, but the blood stains had long dried up and turned black. And Ken was just injured. Although the knife was not pulled out, there should be some fresh blood left. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content." "Maybe the blood that flowed out was stained on the clothes," Wang Wei asked. She was not refuting Xian Mei, but helping Xian Mei to sort out the situation. "We will know after we see the situation inside." After Wang Wei finished speaking, she knocked on the door, but no one responded. Xian Mei also knocked on the door and put her ear to it, but she didn't hear any movement inside. Wang Wei and Xian Mei couldn't shout loudly at this time, so Wang Wei tried to turn the door, but it opened directly. "Be careful." Wang Wei moved his nose, blocked Xian Mei and said, "There is a smell of blood." Wang Wei walked in with a gun, carefully checked every corner, and finally saw the source of the bloody smell on the bed. It was a woman with her legs tied to the bed, naked. Judging from the two corners of the bed, the woman's limbs were originally tied. The woman on the bed had long since died, her body was covered with scars, and the ground beneath her was a mess. 7 gunshot wounds. Wang Wei checked the woman's body and said, "That Ken." Xian Mei was very angry when she saw this. When she was about to run towards Ken, a gunshot suddenly came from outside the door. "A Guang." Wang Wei was faster than Xian Mei. He rushed back and directly knocked open the door of room 0805. He looked inside the room to confirm Luo Guang's situation. Luo Guang stood there with a pistol in his hand, and Ken had a dark hole on his chin, bleeding bright red blood. "I'm fine." Luo Guang turned his head and looked at Wang Wei, indicating that he was fine. Luo Guang. Xian Mei also came back and shouted hurriedly, "From your looks, What good things did Ken do in room 0808? Luo Guang emphasized the word good things. Xian Mei told Luo Guang about the situation in room 0808 with a look of grief and indignation. Luo Guang nodded, without commenting, and replied, "That guy did hide a gun, and he just wanted to take me hostage when I was not prepared." Ha, he actually chose the most difficult one to deal with. Seeing that Luo Guang was fine, Wang Wei was relieved and smiled. Luo Guang also smiled and replied, "That guy wanted to force you to surrender by holding me hostage." Although Luo Guang did not say what surrender meant, Wang Wei and the others understood what it meant when they saw the situation in room 0808. Did he contact Davis with the intercom? And did he have the ID card on him? Because there was a power outage and there were no cameras in the room, Wang Wei needed to confirm whether Ken contacted Mike Davis after meeting him and others to tell Mike that he was saved. Luo Guang raised his hand, holding an ID card between his fingers, and said, "He didn't have a chance to use the walkie-talkie in front of me. I had been suspicious of him for a long time, and I took his walkie-talkie away when I was treating him, so when he found out that his walkie-talkie was gone, he immediately got angry." After that, Luo Guang continued, "Let's leave it at that. I'll go back after I deal with his body. Wait, I want to take a picture of the girl's miserable condition just now as evidence of Ken's guilt," Wang Wei suggested, just in case. Luo Guang naturally wouldn't refuse, so he asked the two to take pictures, and he began to deal with Ken's body and let the zombies take the blame. Meow, compress the plot. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tong Miao. Chapter 102. Chapter 100. If you don't call me when you have a party, do you still have humanity? We're back. Sorry, we didn't catch up, Ken. Luo Guang said to Mike. Mike had already figured it out before he saw Ken following Luo Guang and others. His tone was low and he reluctantly confirmed, "He still can't hold on." Luo Guang shook his head, did not answer, and took out Ken's ID card. What a pity for such a good young man. After saying this, he started to observe a moment of silence for Ken. Xian Mei, who was behind Luo Guang, heard the other party saying that Ken was a good person. Thinking of the woman in room 0808, she couldn't help but feel angry and wanted to tell what Ken had done. Luo Guang felt the anger in Xian Mei's tone and spoke quickly, "He is no longer here. What are you going to do? Continue to stay here?" Ken, he searched for so long and found no survivors. "I think there should be no other survivors in this hotel, so my security work can be ended for the time being." Mike looked a little lonely, looked at Luo Guang and the others, and said, "I remember you set up a base at the rescue station. Can I join?" Because Mike Davis always seemed not to know what Ken had done, Xian Mei did not refuse. She only planned to keep a close eye on him if he joined. In fact, Luo Guang and Wang Wei did not have that right, and said, "We are not in charge. It is best for you to follow us back and ask. But I think Uncle BasedonaMovie will agree to you joining." Cinema? The boss of the life-saving team, thank God, that's great. Mike seemed to know Cinema and was very happy. "Okay, Mike, do you still remember the purpose of our coming here?" Luo Guang asked. When Mike heard Luo Guang's words, he quickly said like a chicken pecking rice, remember. There are 4 computers that need to restart the system. They are in the security room on the 2nd floor, the server room on the 3rd floor, and the hotel on the 15th floor. Inside the leadership office. The one in the security room on the 2nd floor and the 2 in the server room on the 3rd floor have been restarted, but the one on the 15th floor has not been restarted yet because there are many zombies blocking the way. Why didn't you tell me earlier? We have to climb the stairs again. Xian Mei was a little speechless. She hated this waste of time. Mike on the other side nodded sheepishly and said, "I thought Ken would be fine. You couldn't climb to the 15th floor with the wounded, right? And you could also use his walkie-talkie to question me at that time." Okay, since we're all down here, let's not worry about this anymore. Luo Guang didn't want to bring the topic to the walkie-talkie. After all, this is a minor loophole, such as why Ken didn't tell Mike his last words through the intercom before he died. Luo Guang looked at Mike and said, "Do you want to go with us?" When Mike heard Luo Guang's words, he was stunned and said, "I don't need to, I will stay in the security room. As soon as the power is restored, I can guide you back safely." If Mike was really that brave, he would have offered to go out with Ken to find survivors. Luo Guang didn't force it, as long as the other party stopped interfering with Ken's affairs. He was also worried that the other party said he wanted to see the place where Ken passed away. Although Luo Guang disposed of the body to make it look like Ken was eaten to death by zombies, there is a sentence that is not often mentioned in police and gangster movies, and Skynet is not omitted. Feeling relieved, Luo Guang confirmed to Mike the situation on the 15th floor. After thinking about it for a while, Mike said, "The 15th floor is where the hotel leader lives. He usually works and rests there. After the disaster, the leader fled directly by helicopter, so there should be no zombies on the 15th floor, but except for the dedicated elevator, the stairs you just climbed cannot reach the 15th floor. You need to go through the stairs on the next floor, which is the administrative area on the 14th floor. The administrative area was having a party at the time and invited many people." "So, I understand. What you mean is that everyone at the party on the 14th floor turned into zombies, so the leader just took a helicopter to escape." Luo Guang nodded, indicating that he understood, and then asked, "What do you need to enter the leader's office?" "What?" Mike handed his ID card to Luo Guang and said, "Just these 2 ID cards will do." Luo Guang took the ID card, looked at it, nodded to Mike, and then they set off to the 15th floor. "Guang, why don't you start by yourself first? We can follow you slowly from behind." The 3 of them ran back to the 8th floor. Wang Wei suddenly spoke in a coquettish tone and said, "Look at Xian Mei, she is out of breath. We will have to save some energy to fight the zombies later." Wang Wei was okay, but Xian Mei obviously couldn't climb to the 14th floor in one breath. Okay, after Luo Guang finished speaking, he began to speed up, leaving Wang Wei and the 2 behind. Wang Wei wanted to be coquettish a few more times, but she didn't expect Luo Guang to agree so readily, and ran away immediately, and was so angry that he chopped his feet several times. Luo Guang waited for Wang Wei's words. After running to the 13th floor, he jumped directly to the stairwell of the 14th floor using a return jump on the remaining floors. Opening the door, Luo Guang quickly found the administrative office area. The sound of the party outside had long since disappeared and it was very quiet. Pushing open the door of the office area, Luo Guang roared. The scene in front of him undoubtedly told Luo Guang that they were having an adult party during his lifetime. Although Luo Guang could use the obstacles in the office and use a mountaineering pick to eliminate the zombies one by one, seeing these people partying without calling him, Luo Guang felt an inexplicable anger and directly took out the M4S90 shotgun he was used to. Gun. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. At the same time, Luo Guang thought to himself that it would be nice if there was some music at this time. "Hey!" Luo Guang roared, causing the zombies that were stagnant because they had no prey to turn their heads and look at Luo Guang. Luo Guang didn't wait for the opponent to start charging and gathering. This time he didn't need to save bullets and directly raised his gun to shoot. Bang! Bang! With 2 shots, he directly killed the 2 zombies in the fusion body closest to his right hand. The zombies saw the long-lost food. After being stunned for a moment, they rushed towards Luo Guang together, either walking around the desk, or jumping directly on the desk and jumping in the direction of Luo Guang. Luo Guang poured out the bullets in his shotgun directly at the zombies gathered in the corridor between his desks, leaving only the last round in the chamber for emergencies. Luo Guang then put away the shotgun and took out a Beretta M92F pistol with a full magazine. There was a zombie jumping over on the desk, and the two lumps of flesh on its chest were jumping up and down uncontrollably without any restraints, without any stiffness. But the zombie's beauty trap didn't completely attract Luo Guang's attention. Luo Guang raised his gun in his right hand and shot the shameless zombie in the head with one shot. However, this did not seem to be an exception. Luo Guang found that those zombies without clothes, both men and women, seemed to like to rush towards them in this way, but Akira felt inexplicably disgusting. This eye-catching scene made Luo Guang not hesitate to waste an extra bullet on those male zombies, cutting off their lifeblood with one shot. Killing the jumping zombies one by one, Luo Guang suddenly dodged sideways and dodged the attacks of zombies approaching him. Luo Guang began to move, using his speed advantage to penetrate the gaps between the zombies. He also used this opportunity to change the magazine of his pistol. The zombies on both sides reached out to hammer at the same time. Luo Guang broke into the arms of the zombie on the left while avoiding the hammer attack from the zombie on the right. Luo Guang grabbed the zombie's hand on the left, twisted it hard, and broke the zombie's right hand, and then pushed the zombie back towards the zombie on the right. Pulling away, Luo Guang accurately hit the zombies that collided with each other with two shots. There was also a certain distance from other zombies. Luo Guang fired quickly and accurately before changing the magazine again. Ho ho ho, a zombie behind him got up from the ground and appeared next to the table, grabbing Luo Guang's legs with both hands. Luo Guang dodged with a side step, and then volleyed with great force, using the zombie's head as a football to fly away. This head flew directly towards the door where he came in, and flew right in front of Wang Wei's eyes, startling him. Luo Guang noticed Wang Wei's appearance, and his personality and abilities began to calm down. When he jumped off the desk, he kicked forward, knocking down the zombies in the way, and then added a shot. "Are you here?" Luo Guang said to Wang Wei and Xian Mei, who arrived a little later. Wang Wei nodded and started attacking the zombies a little further away from Luo Guang. As for Xian Mei, she was still breathing. Without a gun, she was not suitable to join the battle at this time. She could only watch the show and act as a cheerleader. Watching Luo Guang and Wang Wei's shooting, each gunshot was accompanied by the fall of a zombie, which made Xian Mei naturally have such an idiom in her mind. Missless shots. After spending a lot of ammunition, Luo Guang and Wang Wei worked together to eliminate nearly 100 zombies here. Speaking of perfect cooperation, Luo Guang felt that Wang Wei was more actively cooperating with him. He acted according to the combat effectiveness he had shown to Wang Wei before, and the other party could always make up for his attack blind spots just right. "You guys are so awesome," Xian Mei was stunned, looking at the two people walking towards her, and said in surprise. Luo Guang said modestly, "You can do it after training, and these basic zombies can be easily dealt with as long as you overcome fear and understand their patterns of action." Luo Guang was just being modest, but Xian Mei seemed to really feel that she could do this, and nodded seriously. After clearing the way to the 15th floor, Luo Guang did not encounter other obstacles or decryption, and successfully restarted the system. While Luo Guang and others were still walking down, the lights in the stairwell suddenly turned on. It seemed that the power had been restored successfully. Seeing that Luo Guang and the others were back safely, Mike was very happy and said, "The power has been restored, and did you know? I saw a heavy truck on the surveillance camera in the underground parking lot." "But it's useless without a key, right?" Luo Guang asked strangely. Mike laughed. As a car lover, he fantasized about being able to drive this car himself later, and said, "The owner of that car was lying next to the car, and the key was in his hand." However, what Mike didn't expect was that Luo Guang also took a liking to that car. "I want that car, I'll drive it." After Luo Guang finished speaking, he threw the key to the pickup truck to Xian Mei. "Why?" Mike looked bitter, like a guy who just fell in love for the first time and fell out of love immediately. Seeing Mike's behavior, Luo Guang said, "Sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to steal love. But we really need this car to go to the town. The road is a bit far, and the road is definitely not smooth." "Is that so?" Mike could only do this after hearing what Luo Guang said. He saw the zombies that were eliminated in the administrative area on the 14th floor, and he especially noticed that the vital organs of some zombies were broken, which made him feel cold. Not to mention that Mike, who had a little belly, could not beat Luo Guang, and Luo Guang also apologized to him, so what else could he do? Mike was a little depressed, and thought of something, and said, "By the way, if you want to go to the town, it's better to modify the car again. I heard the survivors say that the tunnel to the town was blocked by many zombies and scrapped cars." "Modify? Where can I find someone to help?" Luo Guang asked. Luo Guang saw several car modification factories on the map and wanted to see if the other party had any recommendations. "Yes, it's a father-daughter shop. Although there are only 2 people, many rich people will go to them to modify sports cars." Mike didn't want to see the heavy truck again when the car was already in tatters, so he spared no effort to recommend the best auto repair shop. Luo Guang nodded and said, "Is the store near here? If so, I'll go there before I go back to the rescue station." Mike thought about the distance and said, "It's not far, just outside the resort, but it's getting dark, and it will be late when we finish moving the food. Don't you want to go back to the base first?" Xianmei and Wang Wei didn't answer and looked at Luo Guang. Luo Guang replied, "No, I'll finish the work on the way. After all, there will be a typhoon later. I'm worried that if we go a step later, the zombies will have broken through there. And with the abilities of Wang Wei and me, we just need to be cautious at night." It was decided, and everyone started to act. First, under the leadership of Mike and the escort of Luo Guang got the key of the heavy truck and drove the beast-like car. The body of this heavy truck is gray-white, with a wheelbase of 3 meters and a length of 4 meters and 9 meters. It uses a 3.0T turbocharged engine, consumes nearly 30 liters of oil per 100 kilometers, and has a 6-seat interior. Although this truck consumes a lot of oil, no one is competing with Luo Guang for oil now, so it doesn't matter. Driving the heavy truck next to the pickup truck at the door, Luo Guang pulled Mike, who was sitting in the car and didn't want to get off, into the hotel and started moving food. With Luo Guang and Wang Wei, the few people didn't encounter any new dangers when facing zombies. It's just that the things in the food storage are basically fresh ingredients. There are canned food, but not as many as imagined. Although the cold storage has been out of power for a period of time, it may have considered the situation, so the cold storage has a good cold preservation ability. Luo Guang took a few glances and smelled a few times, and found no spoiled food. There is a refrigerator at the rescue station, and the canned food here is basically beans and meat, so Luo Guang picked some vegetables. After everyone worked together to load the food into the topless cargo box behind the pickup truck, Luo Guang explained a few words to Xianmei and the others, then drove the heavy truck out of the hotel and headed for the car modification factory. The car data is made up. I didn't find a suitable car, so I just took a look. There may be another update tonight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tongmiao. Chapter 103. Chapter 101 Father and Daughter. After we modify the car, will we go back to the rescue station? I just saw the hotel. It should have taken typhoon-proof measures when it was designed and built, Wang Wei asked while still sitting in the co-pilot seat. Luo Guang thought for a while and said, "Let's go back to the rescue station. I want to ask about the physical condition of other immune people." "Okay." Wang Wei usually doesn't refute Luo Guang's decision. After replying, She sat in the co-pilot seat and observed the situation around her. The two drove to the car modification factory. The name of the car modification factory was hung on the wire mesh at the door, Earl. Ha, this name is really arrogant. I hope the owner here has hard power, Luo Guang said with a smile. Get out of the car and work. Luo Guang and others came at the right time. The zombies were attacking here and kept slapping the rolling door inside the factory. Without food or sound, the zombies would not act so actively, so this was a good signal for Luo Guang, indicating that the owner of this car modification factory was probably still alive. There were not many zombies here, so Luo Guang did not choose to use guns, but took out a mountaineering pickaxe, while Wang Wei took a steel pipe, which she found in the trunk of a heavy truck. She didn't know what the previous owner used it for in the back row. The attack range of the steel pipe was farther than her short knife, and the power of blunt weapons against zombies was no weaker than that of sharp weapons, which was just right for the current scene. The engine sound of the heavy truck was quite loud, so Luo Guang and the others could not knock the zombies from behind, and could only have a head-on confrontation. Seeing Luo Guang's mountaineering pickaxe so easily solve the zombies, Wang Wei felt that she needed to change to a weapon that was more suitable for the opponent's zombies after returning. Although the short knife was flexible and easy to hide, it increased the risk of close combat with zombies. After cleaning up the zombies inside and outside the car modification factory, Luo Guang knocked on the shutter door and shouted, "Hey, boss, come out to meet customers." "Is anyone there?" The voice was a girl's, sounding very young, and seemed to be frightened by the zombies. Her voice was a little trembling. "Yes, we are the Red Claws, sent to investigate the biochemical crisis on the island." Luo Guang showed his official identity, which made it easier to gain the other party's trust, and then continued, "The zombies outside have been cleaned up by us." "Great." The girl cheered when she heard that the zombies were solved, and hurriedly said, "I'll open the shutter door now, you guys come in quickly." "No hurry, the zombies nearby have been cleared, I'll drive the car in first." Luo Guang seemed to be at ease, not in a hurry, and his calm voice also made the slightly panicked girl feel a little relieved. "Are you all right?" After driving the car in, the shutter door was lowered. After Luo Guang got out of the car, he introduced himself with Wang Wei and asked the young girl. The girl's skin color is dark, and the necklace on her neck is very tropical. She wears a short-sleeved top that exposes her belly. The top is loose and slides to the right shoulder, revealing a little bit of her chest and one side of her fragrant shoulder, as well as the suspenders of the red underwear inside. The lower body is matched with a pair of blue suspender work pants, which just cover the girl's belly button, but reveal the slender waist on both sides. "I'm fine, but my father, he..." When the girl heard Luo Guang's words, a haze covered her eyes, and she turned back to look at her father with a worried face. It was an old man in his 50s. He introduced himself as Earl, and his daughter's name was Jin. The two depended on each other and lived here together. After hearing what his daughter said, Earl said angrily, "Those zombies have broken brains. I felt sorry for them before, thinking it was just a propaganda conspiracy of the Lighthouse Country. It was not until they bit me hard that I realized what happened in Raccoon City was true, and those zombies were real monsters." Hearing Earl's words, Luo Guang couldn't help but wonder if the old man was bitten because he sympathized with those zombies and thought they were still living patients and wanted to help them. However, Earl in front of him did not change except that he looked a little weak, so Luo Guang did not act rashly, but he did not tell the other party about the existence of the immune person, so as not to give the other party hope that it did not exist. "By the way, you came here, it should not be a coincidence or passing by, right? Is it to modify the heavy truck?" After being bitten, Earl has been trapped here for a while. Fortunately, their car modification factory is far away from the town, so every time they purchase food, they will make an appointment for the previous week's quantity. Luo Guang could see some canned tomatoes on the shelf in their workshop. After hearing what Earl said, he replied, "Yes. What do you want to make of this thing? A mobile fortress? A homemade tank? I can't do any of that. There are no materials here. All I can do now is to help you weld some armor. Is that okay?" The Earl in front of him didn't seem to have the skills as good as he imagined. He didn't know if it was because of insufficient materials and time. Luo Guang thought for a while and said, "Okay, it would be better to make the car more crash resistant. We need to go to the town, but it is said that the tunnel to the town is now full of abandoned cars and zombies." "I understand. If it weren't for that, I would have taken my daughter back to the town to take refuge, and I wouldn't have been bitten by zombies." Earl bit his lip, hesitated for a while, and said, "Since you are an anti-biohazard force, you should know that if you are bitten by that thing, you will also turn into a zombie." This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. So I think I don't have much time. Although it is already dark now, I can only seize the time to modify it. If zombies are attracted by then, can you solve it? Luo Guang and the other two nodded, indicating that they could handle it. Hearing her father say that she didn't have much time, Jing quickly held her father's palm with both hands and said, "Father, you will be fine. Don't leave me alone." Earl knew what he was doing. He patted Jin's trembling hands with his other hand and said, "Okay, Jin, we're going to start working. This should be my last job. Give me a hand, well, I need your help." There was no time to produce design drawings or anything like that, so Earl could only rely on his many years of experience and imagination to start the modification, and directly called his daughter to rush over to help. Yes, Jin held back tears, nodded vigorously, let go of his hand, and went to move the things he needed. Luo Guang asked Wang Wei to protect the two of Earl, actually to prevent Earl from suddenly mutating, and to give the other party some advice on modifying the car, and it was easier for Luo Guang to use his full strength by himself. Earl obviously knew Luo Guang's intentions, but Wang Wei staying here was beneficial to the safety of his daughter, and Luo Guang seemed very confident, so he didn't ask Luo Guang if he could do it alone. As for Wang Wei, there was no objection either, because she understood the reason for Luo Guang's arrangement and trusted Luo Guang's current strength. After Luo Guang came out of the rolling shutter door, Wang Wei immediately closed the rolling shutter door. Not long after, the sounds of various cutting materials and welding armor began to be heard inside, while Luo Guang stood in front of the rolling shutter door, waiting for the zombies attracted by the sound to come over. Luo Guang thought that there would be a large number of zombies like in those gatekeeper games, but it turned out that there were only 2 or 3 small shrimps, which were not enough for Luo Guang to squeeze between his teeth, and they were eliminated in less than 10 seconds. This is because the Earl car modification factory is located on the outskirts of the resort, and there are not many people around it. In addition, Luo Guang has cleared out a group of enemies when he came, so now the people behind the rolling shutter door are busy and have not attracted many zombies. Come. Taking advantage of this waiting time, Luo Guang moved a folding stool and sat in front of the rolling shutter door like a door god. He began to sort out the bullet bag on his body, refilled the empty pistol magazine, and then put the already empty remove the bullet pouch from your body and throw it away. The night view of Bainoi Island is very good. Looking up at the clear sky, there is not a single cloud, and the stars are very beautiful. It is the tinkling sound coming from behind that disturbs the tranquility and beauty of the night. It was around 9 o'clock in the evening, and the movement of modified cars in the workshop suddenly stopped. "Ah Guang, I'm opening the door." Wang Wei finished speaking and opened the rolling shutter door. Luo Guang walked in and looked at the car he drove over. His first comment was that it was very wasteland style. He couldn't understand why Mike said that rich people came here to modify their cars. Earl first added iron bars to all the glass windows to form guardrails to prevent zombies from breaking the glass. However, the guardrail in front of the glass somewhat blocked the driving view. Earl then added a steel plate to the outside of all the tires. The focus of this modification is the front of the car. He used two steel plates to form a triangular cone, which can allow zombies that hit it to fly to both sides without being stuck on the front of the car. Earl even added some steel plates to the bottom of the car in some places, just in case. Originally, Earl wanted to add some anti-personnel spikes to the front cone steel plate and tire steel plate, but this was rejected by Wang Wei, the supervisor. After all, the purpose of this car is just to clear the road, not to kill zombies. The spikes make it easy for zombies to hang on it, making it troublesome to clean up. After working for several hours, Earl, who was infected with the virus, sat in a high chair and felt very tired. It seemed that the busy work had accelerated blood circulation and accelerated the progress of the infection. Seeing her father like this, Jin had just been holding back tears while working. At this time, she was shedding tears and accompanying her father very sadly. "Look, let's talk about the remuneration for modification now." Although Earl was very tired, he still insisted on finishing the last important thing. Luo Guang actually didn't want to give money. The other party's modification was too cheap. Anyone who knew how to weld could do it. Tell me, Luo Guang only had some dollars on him, so he had to pick up some cash to refuel at the self-service gas station. Earl glanced at his daughter and said, "My daughter, she can't stay here any longer." "What?" Jin leaned forward and said with a look of surprise. It seemed that she didn't know her father's plan. Earl shifted his gaze from Luo Guang to Jin, his eyes full of doting on his daughter, and said, "Soon I will become delirious, and then I will hurt you like those zombies. I don't want to go there, that kind of situation. We will take her to the lifeguard captain, and they have set up a survivor base at the rescue station." But he didn't know if Cinema and Earl had any problems. He shook his head and said, "That guy can't protect her. Only you professional antibiochemical personnel can. But we need to carry out the mission. This process is not simple and there are many difficulties. The origin of the biochemical crisis is often the most dangerous." Luo Guang did not refuse directly, but told Earl about this situation. When introducing himself, Earl already knew that Luo Guang and his team came with a mission, but he really didn't know who else he could entrust his daughter to. Jin on the other side finally reacted and said, "No, Dad, what are you talking about? I won't leave. I don't want to leave you." After that, Jin went over and hugged his father. "No, dear. Listen to me, you are the most precious treasure in my life. For me, nothing can replace you, and I don't want to part with you. Then don't drive me away. No matter what happens, I will not leave you." Earl gently held Jin's head with both hands, looking at the tears on her face, and felt very uncomfortable, but he still said seriously, "My daughter, look at me, look at me. I love you, how I want to be with you all the time. This is no longer possible." After that, Earl let go of his hand, and Jin hugged his father tightly, unwilling to let go. "Promise me, help me take good care of her." Earl looked at Luo Guang and Wang Wei, took away Jin's hand that was hugging him, and held Jin's hand. The car key was with Luo Guang, and Earl couldn't stop Luo Guang from leaving. He could only rely on his sincerity to find a way out for his daughter. Jin had already cried and kept shaking her head, "Dad, no. Dad." The tragedy he had seen before emerged in Luo Guang's mind, and the two people in front of him made Luo Guang feel sympathetic. He sighed and said, "Okay, but I won't spoil her like you do. It will be hard for her to follow us. She should be mentally prepared." After Luo Guang finished speaking, Wang Wei walked towards Jin, put his arm around Jin's shoulders, and took Jin from her father's hands. Earl did not directly answer Luo Guang's words, but said to Jin, "Jin, no matter what happens, hold on, don't lose faith in life, you can do it, and always remember me." Not knowing when he would become one of those zombies, Earl asked Luo Guang and his friends to leave quickly after entrusting his daughter to Luo Guang. Afterwards, Luo Guang drove the car, and Wang Wei sat in the back seat with Jin this time, not occupying the co-pilot seat. After my mother died, we settled on this island. My father has been taking care of me and accompanying me. Although he was very sad at that time, he still forced himself to smile and tease me who was crying because of my mother's death. In the end, I was a person on this island, and I let my father forget the sadness and walked out. Jin was in Wang Wei's arms, talking about her and her father. Gradually, her voice became smaller and smaller. She was tired of crying and fell asleep. Looking at the heavy truck driving away, Earl stood at the shutter door. The brim of the hat his wife gave him blocked his eyes that were beginning to tear up, and whispered, "I love you, my daughter." After that, Earl closed the shutter door, returned to the bedroom, took out the photo of his deceased wife, opened a bottle of beer, and quietly waited for that moment to come. Meow, the second update today. I'm busy tomorrow, maybe I can update it in the evening. The title was originally Modified Heavy Truck, but later I thought about it and changed it to the current one. Evolution begins with Resident Evil. Author, Wei Tong Miao. Chapter 104. Chapter 102 Clues of the HCF Organization. Shall we go back to the rescue station now? Wang Wei asked after fastening Jin's seat belt. Yes, it's a little late now. Staying up late is not good for the skin. Luo Guang rarely drives at night, and he is not familiar with this car model. The road conditions are not good, so he drives more cautiously. However, Luo Guang still took the initiative to hit a few zombies on the way to test the effect of this modification. It felt good to Luo Guang. He did not feel any obstruction when hitting. The zombies blocking the road flew directly to both sides after being hit. When Luo Guang drove back to the rescue station, Wang Wei also woke Jin up in time. The one who opened the door was Xian Mei, who had been waiting for Luo Guang and others. Seeing that it was late, she guessed that Luo Guang would come back first after modifying the car. Xian Mei said, "Luo Guang, who is this?" Xian Mei is not a local islander, and she has not bought a car herself, so Xian Mei is not familiar with Earl and Jin. So Luo Guang simply told Xian Mei about Jin's situation and asked, "Is there a place to sleep?" Yes, in order to accommodate more people in the future, they have converted the office area of the rescue station on the second floor into a residential area. Xian Mei said as she led everyone back to the rescue station. Collective dormitory, Luo Guang asked. Xian Mei, who was walking in front, nodded. Several people came to the second floor of the rescue station, first settled the depressed Jin, and then Luo Guang and the others went to the watchtower and found Cinema Yi. The Earl was so careless. Although Cinema Yi had a dispute with Erduo, he couldn't help feeling a little sad when he heard about ER's experience. There were frictions between the two when they were young, and neither of them was convinced by the other. In fact, the relationship between the two was more of a rivalry of both enemies and friends. As for the competition, of course, it was the title of the king of sea fishing in Banoi Island. Cinema Yi said to Luo Guang, "Since that guy has given you his precious daughter, you should protect her well. Cinema Yi, you know our mission. Do you think it's really okay for us to take her with us? She has not received any training, and to be honest." Looking around, Luo Guang continued to whisper, "Jin is too naive. She has no idea how dangerous this world is." The reason why Luo Guang told Cinema Yi about Jin was that he wanted him to take her in. As for what Earl said, he would not obey it completely. However, Cinema Yi shook his head and said, "Since it is the decision of that old guy, I can't interfere. Her daughter is as stubborn as her father. She will not agree to stay here. If you abandon her, I am sure she will leave here to find you. Besides, where on this island can be said to be absolutely safe?" Since the other party refused, Luo Guang couldn't dwell on it anymore. If Jin really went to find Luo Guang and the others who left her alone as Sima Yi said, it would be better to take her with him from the beginning. The next day, when I woke up early, the sun was gone and dark clouds came. Although it hadn't rained yet, the wind had already started to blow. According to the old islander Sima Yi, the typhoon would land on Benoi Island as early as tonight or tomorrow at the latest. Luo Guang observed the situation at the rescue station for a while and found that the atmosphere in the base seemed to be a little more relaxed than before. He asked Sima Yi and learned that the main reason was that some non-immune people took the initiative to stand up and share the responsibility. Jenny and another female college student whose name Luo Guang didn't know were still the same, pushing all the dangerous things to others, but Jana, Donnie Jack, and John in the flowered shirt planned to drive the pickup truck to the hotel to take advantage of this time to bring back more food and eat some fresh ingredients. They had already set off a few minutes ago. Donnie and his friends took the initiative to take on the task of carrying food, which made Logan and Sam B feel much better. The two formed a small team with Pina and Xianmei to help the people in the rescue station do some tasks that were not necessary for survival, such as finding necklaces and wine. When the four-man team went out to do these side quests, they also found new survivors one after another. Some of those survivors were willing to join the rescue station, while others did not want to leave but asked Logan and the other four to help them find their husbands. Luo Guang did not do nothing but stay at the rescue station to fish. He and Wang Wei took Jin out. However, they did not accept someone's mission. Instead, a helicopter appeared over the island, and then, under Luo Guang's gaze, it suddenly crashed near the lighthouse area on the island. Driving a heavy truck, Luo Guang drove to the foot of the mountain, not far from the location of the smoke after the helicopter crashed. This road is not suitable for driving up the mountain, so Luo Guang found a more secluded place to hide the heavy truck. Of course, given the size and modification of this heavy truck, this behavior was just to find psychological comfort. It seems that everyone prefers the beach and the sea. There are not many zombies on the mountain. After a while, Luo Guang and the other two were very close to the crash site. Suddenly, there was a gunshot, which sounded like a pistol. Then a huge explosion sounded, not like the sound of a helicopter explosion. This explosion sounded even deeper. You and Jin wait here, I'll go forward and take a look, I'll contact you on the intercom after it's safe. Understood, Wang Wei replied, and Jin beside him nodded obediently. Without worrying about Jin's speed, Luo Guang quickly arrived at the crash site. A little ahead of the helicopter wreckage was an open area. There was a pool of flesh and blood and half a leg in the middle of the place. The spatter traces spread out in all directions. Although I didn't see the actual scene, it looked like some kind of infected body that could self-destruct. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. In addition, Luo Guang also saw the survivor of the crash, but that survivor had a bone stuck in his body, had burns and corrosion scars in many places on his body, and his breathing was already very weak. Luo Guang avoided the corroded areas on the guy's body and searched for anything on him. He found nothing, not even a gun, except for a dog tag, military identification tag. There is no information such as name on the dog tag. One side is a series of numbers, which seems to be that person's personal number, used to confirm the identity of people in the same organization, while the other side is engraved with a few letters HCF. People from HCF, they broke through the military blockade and came in, Luo Guang was thinking in his mind, and suddenly heard a voice coming from the grass nearby. Luo Guang didn't ask anyone or say anything else, he just raised his shotgun and aimed it over there. Meow. Luo Guang didn't answer and continued to aim at that place. Okay, I'll come out in the end. The other party couldn't hold it back and walked out. He was a bald man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, wearing half-rimmed glasses. Who are you? Luo Guang asked. My name is Nico, I'm very well connected. I ordered this helicopter to take me away. Unexpectedly, it crashed directly. Nico spoke English with a bit of an accent from the country of furry bears, which was somewhat similar to BZ. What just happened here? Why are you hiding in the grass and not saving the people who came to save you? The person you have on the ground was the one I rescued from the crashed plane, Nico said a little aggrievedly. Under Luo Guang's gaze, Nico sweated a little on his forehead and continued, then a zombie appeared, a zombie with pustules on its upper body. The helicopter pilot couldn't run away at all, so I had no choice but to run away on my own. And then the self-destructing zombie twitched and then exploded. Then you came over before I confirmed it was safe. What Nico said was consistent with the situation at the scene, except for the gunshot and the fact that Luo Guang would not easily believe what he said after seeing the dog tag with HCF written on it. And the other party might think that Luo Guang didn't know the meaning of the letters HCF, so he easily said that he contacted the helicopter. What does HCF mean? What about that string of numbers? Shouldn't it normally be information such as name and blood type? However, Luo Guang did not ask about the gunshots. Instead, he asked about the information on both sides of the dog tag. Nico didn't answer immediately and looked at Luo Guang. Although Luo Guang is wearing a military uniform, this is the first appearance of the Red Claws. Therefore, Nico can only confirm Luo Guang's identity as a soldier. It is estimated that Luo Guang is just asking these questions at this time. Confirm the identity of the helicopter. In the end, as Luo Guang expected, Nico's expression did not change. He glanced at the dog tag in his hand and said, HCF is just the abbreviation of the company that the helicopter I contacted belongs to. As for the string of numbers, it should be the employee number of their company. Right. As for why it's not about names and other information, brother, they're not soldiers, so there's no requirement to write this on dog tags, right? Although this helicopter crashed, it doesn't look like an ordinary civilian helicopter, right? And the area around the island has been blocked. How can helicopters from outside get in? Luo Guang did not immediately attack HCF and continued to ask questions, looking for more flaws in the other party's words. Seeing that Luo Guang didn't ask further questions, Nico relaxed a lot mentally, at least on his face. Luo Guang saw that the other party's brows relaxed a little more. Then I don't know. I only know that I spent a lot of money to find this helicopter company that was willing to come in. Nico spread his hands and shrugged his shoulders, looking like a dead pig who is not afraid of boiling water. Nico directly stated that he did not know, so Luo Guang failed to obtain any useful information from this passage. However, Luo Guang has a new guess in his mind. Maybe the helicopter came in with the authorization of Dr. Serper. In this case, there is likely to be a connection between Dr. Serper or the company behind him and the HCF organization. I handed over the T Veronica virus, special version, to organization will come to me and ask how I got it. At that time, I will have the opportunity to pit Organization X and HCF organization against each other, and the company behind Serper will also become a clue for Organization X to pursue the HCF organization. Brother soldier, could you please put down the gun in your hand? I'm worried that you may have misfired. Nico had just finished speaking and was about to walk towards Luo Guang when suddenly there was a gunshot. It was Luo Guang who misfired. The bullet flew past Nico and hit the cliff behind him, startling him. Jump. Ah, I'm sorry, there was a misfire. Luo Guang apologized slightly, smiled at Nico, and asked, do you know how the biological crisis broke out here? And the things in your backpack can be easily taken out. Shall I take a look? I don't know how it broke out. I can show you the things in the backpack, but don't get mad again. Nico was shocked by Luo Guang. He nodded and bowed, not daring to disobey, and said quickly. After saying that, Nico first slowly put down the steel pipe behind him, then moved his backpack to his chest, unzipped it, and took things out little by little. Why don't you just put your backpack on the ground and take it out? Then you don't have to squat every time you take it out, Luo Guang kindly reminded. Okay, Nico did as he was told. Bottled water, canned fish, map, signal stick, signal gun. Nico, who looked harmless, suddenly had a fierce look in his eyes. Nico, who had been slowly taking things out before, seemed to have something stuck in his backpack and was constantly adjusting the angle. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out, and a hole suddenly appeared on Nico's backpack. The bullet flew out of the backpack and pointed directly at Luo Guang. After a few more gunshots, Nico showed a triumphant smile in Luo Guang's shocked pupils. Idiot, Nico smiled triumphantly. Bang! Louder than the sound of the opponent's pistol, Luo Guang's shotgun fired, directly smashing the opponent's upper arm holding the gun. Luo Guang walked over and fired a few more shots, crippling the opponent's limbs. Impossible, Nico was immediately screaming in pain due to the surge of adrenaline and panic. Nico, what kind of organization is HCF, where is your headquarters? Luo Guang's words made Nico instantly realize that his performance was like a clown in Luo Guang's eyes. The other party had known about his organization for a long time, and he was still complacent about deceiving the other party. Who are you? Why do you know about my organization? Before the other party finished speaking, Luo Guang shot him in the head and solved the problem. After firing the gun, Luo Guang slowly said, "Wrong answer." It's not that Luo Guang didn't want to pry open the man's mouth, but the conditions did not allow it. Luo Guang didn't want to drag such a person to act, let alone hand him over to Dr. Serper and others. As for why he didn't subdue the other party directly, it was because Luo Guang was afraid that the other party would launch a bomb attack. Who knows if there is explosives in that guy's backpack? Intelligence is important, but Luo Guang cherishes his life more. Anyway, he has found a clue about the HCF organization. After walking over to confirm that Nico was dead, Luo Guang walked over and found a dog tag on him. Unlike the previous silver-white one, this one was platinum-colored, but the content had not changed, all of which were the organization name and personal number. In the backpack, Luo Guang found the blood samples collected by Nico, and they were labeled very considerately. One of the tubes was a blood sample of an immune person, but he didn't know where the immune person whose blood was drawn was. After confirming that Nico had no other useful things, Luo Guang walked around to confirm whether there were any omissions. In the end, he did not let Wang Wei and Jing come over, but returned to find them. "What's the situation?" Wang Wei asked when she saw Luo Guang coming back. Luo Guang omitted the matter of the HCF organization and told Wang Wei and the others. "Are there zombies that will self-destruct? Those people are so miserable. They escaped from the crashed helicopter and encountered zombies." Wang Wei and Jin's answers were completely different. After Luo Guang explained the matter of the self-destructing monster and how to deal with it to the other side, he took Wang Wei and others back to the rescue station and waited for the arrival of the typhoon. Asterisk. As a worker, the person on the other side of the communication line is so troublesome and annoying. He even calls me during the lunch break.